Section 6, contact forms. Works great for videos. Video 1, getting set up basic automation. Contact forms.
Now let's talk about automating at a basic level. Now, what I want to start with is contact forms, because contact forms really, I think, are probably the most basic and easiest thing that you can use to start getting responses. Obviously, you could use email, but email is just so overplayed these days, or played out, meaning that so many people use email, and because of that, it just seems to not work as well. It still works for sure, but contact forms I have way more success with. So let's talk about what we're going to need to do this. Now, with any sort of automation, we're generally going to have to spend some sort of money. Whether we're hiring a virtual assistant, meaning somebody to go and manually do this for us, a robot, or we do it ourselves. No matter what, we're going to have to pay money, right? Whether it's with our own time, whether it's with the robot's time, or whether it's a virtual assistant. Now, I recommend using robots because you can get more out of a robot, I think, than you can with a virtual assistant. And that's not in every scenario, but in most cases, robots can automate faster than somebody that's manually doing something. So what we're going to do is for our first equation, and you can, again, choose what you want to do. I'm going to list out how expensive this is, and then you can choose at what level you want to automate. But if we use a robot, we're going to use something called easycontactbot.com, which is just a contact form software called GSA Contact. But if you use this link here, it will give you a special deal. And I think this deal is, let me go check. It's GSA Website Contact. Buy now. $97 or $100 total because of tax. And I might have a coupon code. If I do, I'll leave it in the description of this video. But we got Easy Contact Bot. It's a one-time fee, so it's $100. And then we got proxies. And then I'm going to show you the other stuff that's optional. But proxies probably we're going to want to spend around $50. And then there's some other things that you can get that I'll talk about in another video. But these are about another $100, and then a VPS probably another $100. So, but just to start with this automation, you're looking at about $150. Now again, if you want to do this yourself, right? You want to do it how we just covered it a second ago, which is sending out the messages manually. You're looking at sending maybe 30 or 40 messages an hour. And you're getting what? I don't know, hopefully a couple of responses. But what's your hourly rate? If your hourly rate is, I don't know, $20 an hour or 30, let's say you bill your time out at $100 an hour, which is probably a good rate if you're selling services. And you can obviously charge a lot more than this. But you're basically, in 1 hour, you could have just bought the bot. Or in 2 hours, you could have just bought the bot and still had $50 left over. So that's probably not worth it. A virtual assistant is probably worth about $3 to $5 an hour, but they're only sending out 40 to 50 messages there. So again, it's probably best to just go and buy something like this because you're going to have it forever. It's up to you on what you want to do, but I'm just showing you the options. But you're looking at probably $150 for this tool, minimum, okay? So what you're going to do is you're going to go to easycontactbot.com. You're going to go get GSA Website Contact, and you're going to check out and buy it. And then once you have it, you're going to download it, and it's going to look like this. Oh, and it says my demo version's expired. So I could probably actually register a new one, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to open up one of my private servers so you can see this. And we'll talk about setting up a private server and everything if you want to do that. And I'll talk about why you would do that, but I don't want to overwhelm you right now. But basically, a private server is just a way to have an extra computer that does stuff for you, so you don't have to have it run on your main computer, because this can get pretty resource intensive. So this is one of my bots here, or this is the contact form. You're not going to see any of this stuff. It's going to be completely blank. Let me actually delete it for you, or we'll just start a new project. So it's just going to look like this. You're not going to see any of this stuff here. And so what we want to do is click on New. And we're just going to say plumbers, okay? Because let's say we want to reach out to plumbers. Now, one of the things we're going to want is proxies. Now, you can do this for free if you go to the scraping, and then I believe there's a way to scrape proxies. But I like to buy proxies because it's, in my opinion, a better success rate. You get more success when you buy the proxies versus when opposed to when you scrape proxies. And you might be already getting overwhelmed. You're like, wait, what the heck? What's going on? I don't know what a proxy is. I don't know what this software is. Don't worry. All we really did is we installed this software and we created a new project called Plumbers Near Me. Okay. So in the next video, I'll explain what a proxy is. I'll explain why you need proxies, because whether you're using automation with contact forms or using automation on Twitter or you're using automation anywhere, you want to run proxies. And again, the reason why is because we're going to use them to hide where we're automating from, because we don't want to get our IP address blacklisted or banned or any of that stuff, okay? So we'll talk about that in the next one.
Section 6, contact forms, works great for videos. Video 2, CAN-SPAM laws.
All right, so one thing you guys want to consider is the CAN-SPAM Act of 2003, which basically says that you're supposed to put an opt-out option for people that are getting emails from you. Now, this is for email. I don't know if there's specifically something for contact forms, but my friend Ryan, who's an absolute pro at this stuff, and he actually sells the contact form lists in one of these other links in the spreadsheet, basically says that you can put a link, a clickable link to a database that you manage in your contact forms. And he actually created a full video on this that I will leave in the description of this video. But it's very important that you either put a option that says, hey, reply to this contact form if you don't want more emails from us or more messages from us. Because if you're doing it at small scale, you're probably not going to run into any problems. But if you're sending out millions and millions of messages every single day, this is going to be something that you'll probably want to set up. Now, this is a long video. He made a 53-minute video. I'm asking Ryan right now if he can set something up for us where we can just basically build one of these things for you. So you can just have this already set up. So just know that it is something that I'm working on. But again, make sure that if you are going to be sending out a ton of emails or tons of messages, more than, I don't know, a few thousand a day, to just make sure that you put some sort of way to let people unsubscribe so you can add it to the blacklist settings inside your GSA contact, which if you're not familiar with where that is, you can go into the tools and there should be a blacklist setting somewhere in here. Submission content. Hold on one second. Global filter. Yeah, so this is the blacklist here. So this is where you can add the websites that have opted out, okay? But with the method that Ryan talks about here, you basically put a link in your contact forms. When they click on it, it adds them to a database, and then you can have your virtual assistant or whoever or yourself just go update your blacklist. So that way you can send out these millions of them without worrying about anybody reporting you, because they do have an opt-out feature, okay? So again, I'll keep you updated on the setup for this. So make sure you check for any of the new videos in here. Whenever I make a new video, I put it as new. And yeah, we'll see you in the next video.
Section 6, contact forms, works great for videos. Video 3, CAN-SPAM and GDRP compliance.
What's up, guys? Ryan Borden here. This is me on the right. I'm working with Chase Reiner. Here he is on the left, and working together in the AI Profits course. Now that we've got the photo app out of the way, we need to have a serious conversation. Before we get too deep into this, though, I do need to bring this in so y'all can see it. And basically, this point of this is that I'm not an attorney. So this is my opinions and observations based on reading the law that you can read too. And if you want to contact an attorney, then contact them and obtain advice from them. So let's jump in and let me show you what I have figured out by consulting multiple attorneys and doing this for the past 7 years. So there are laws that do govern things, obviously communications. For example, in the USA, there's serious laws that cover communications on phone lines and different laws that cover communications for email. In Europe, there's also laws that cover communications, and I'm sure there's laws in other countries, but these are the two big ones, CAN-SPAM in the USA and GDPR in the EU. So can you just open contact forms and send them wide open and do whatever you want? Well, not really. Here's the thing. It is legal, but you have to do it right. So if you do it wrong, it is or could be illegal. So this conversation is important. Please don't skip it. Please watch the whole video. And it's easy, but you got to do it. So let's do it right. I've been doing it right since 2015. I've had 0 issues. That's 7 years. This is October of 2022. And you can do it right too. So what is this? Well, in the USA, multiple attorneys have been consulted, and CAN-SPAM could be applicable for contact forms because when you go to a website such as this, and we go to contact, and we go to the contact form, okay, so this has a contact form here. If we go here and punch in our name and email, what happens is this message gets sent to Chase's web server, and then his web server that hosts chasereiner.com then takes that and does whatever that user wants them to do with it. In 99.999% of cases, it's auto-configured or preferably configured to be set up to send an email. So that web server then sends Chase an email, and it probably goes to, I haven't filled it out, but it probably goes to this support@chasereiner.com. So on the sending side, we send it to the web server via the contact form using bots or contactbot.ai, but still bot. So we send it to the web server, and from there it travels via email. And attorneys have said that since it travels from the web server to the person via email, it could be considered under CAN-SPAM. So what is CAN-SPAM? Well, it's really easy. Let's pull it up. If we search CAN-SPAM, we can see that the first result that comes up is the FTC, and I'm not sure if it's this one. We're going to find out. There's a really easy checklist they give you. There's like 7 things that you need to do, so it's not that one. All right, it's here actually. So it wasn't the snippet. It was just like the actual first result, a compliance guide for business, right? So here's how you comply with CAN-SPAM, and we'll talk about GDPR for EU in a minute, and it's even easier. So for CAN-SPAM for the USA, if you're living in the USA and you're doing this, it's really easy. You can't use false or misleading header information. We don't get to use headers with contact forms, so point 1 is mute. That's up to the web server, so it should be configured, and that's on them. Don't use deceptive subject lines. This is on you. You cannot say free $1,000 giveaway and then for the subject line, and then in the email message say, would you like to buy SEO services, unless you're actually giving away $1,000. You can't say, hey, this is your phone company, your account is in jeopardy, so that they open it up thinking it's their cell phone and then say, would you like to buy SEO services? That's deceptive. You got to use something relevant. So if you're selling SEO, put SEO in the subject line, or put website in the subject line, or ranking, or something related to SEO, something that isn't deceptive. Pretty easy. Identify the message as an ad. The law does give you a lot of leeway on this. What I often do is down at the bottom, I put to avoid future marketing messages. Go here, and then that's where I put my opt-outs, which we'll talk about in a second. But anyways, identifying it as an ad, a marketing message, or stop future advertisement messages, or you can even put this is an ad, whatever. That's, there's a lot of things. You just can't say that you're from, the point here is you can't say, well, I'm from your cell phone company, and if you don't buy SEO, we're going to turn off your cell phone. You have to notify them that this is an ad, because this is a legitimate business solicitation. That's what we do. We send legitimate business solicitations offering services to other businesses. So you got to basically say that in some wording or another, and I stick it down at the bottom. I'll tell you why in a second. Tell recipients where you're located. You must include a physical address. This is an old rule, and the reason it's there, in case anybody wants to know, is because they honestly thought this was built in 2003, and politicians were behind the times then, and they're behind the times now in tech, but they thought that people would literally get out a pen and a piece of paper and mail in a thing that says unsubscribe. So you have to provide a physical address so that you can receive mail if someone wants to opt out via physical mail. Never had it happen, probably never will, but you got to do it. So you got to put an address in. I'll show you how to do that in a different video, so the video with the opt-outs probably, or something, but you can go rent an address. It can be a post office box. It can be your actual physical address at your home or your office. It doesn't matter. Tell recipients how to opt out of receiving future communications with you. You have to provide them a way to opt out within 10 business days. And it says that in here. Oh, that's the next one. So you have to honor it within 10 business days. But you got to tell them how to opt out. So you have to either give them an unsubscribe link at the bottom, like a one-click opt-out. You have to give them a link where they can go fill out a form to opt out, or you could say reply to this message with the words opt out to opt out. But you have to provide them an option to opt out of future communication. And that's just fair. Anybody who doesn't want to buy from us, we really, if they don't want to be marketed to, and I can tell you right now, it's like 0.01%. It's 1/100th of 1% of people that I get as opt-outs. So I have like 134,000 people that have opted out over the course of 7 years, and me sending hundreds of millions of messages, right? It's really small, infinitesimally small. So anyways, you got to provide a way to opt out, and it doesn't matter. There'll be a separate video on actually opting people out in the course. So you have to honor opt-out requests promptly. It has to be within 10 business days, which is basically 2 weeks. You can't say, oh, I'll opt you out and then do it 6 months later. And you have to opt them out and make sure that you suppress them. And we can do that right in GSA website contact. Again, it'll be in the opt-out video. And so we got to do that. And the last thing is we have to monitor what others are doing on your behalf. This is mostly probably not a big issue, but if you hire a company to send contact forms for you and they come up here, don't provide an opt-out, if you give it to a VA or hire somebody else to do it and they don't provide an opt-out link and they use deceptive subject lines, that's on you. So you have to make sure that if you're hiring somebody else to do contact forms that you do it right, and if you're doing it for clients, you have to do it right because the client could get in trouble if you foul it up, so make sure your bases are covered. Can spam's really easy. So in recap, what really applies to us is real basic. Be honest. Don't use a deceptive subject line. You don't have to put your sales message in the subject line. You don't have to say, this is an advertisement. I'm trying to sell you SEO. You can put just something basic like website or one word. I use one word lowercase a lot of times because it works. So not deceptive subject lines. Notify them that it's an ad. I like to shove this way down at the bottom, down here with the message. And then under this, I'll put an opt-out link. And right above this, I use a link. You can use, whatever. We'll talk about that later. I put the address here. And then the message looks something like this. I've got my message, my signature, and then I've got a whole bunch of spaces, like 10, 15, 20 spaces. You can shove it way down there. You don't want to give it like 10,000 lines. That would be obnoxious. But if they scroll once or twice, especially on a big screen, they should be able to get to it. But it doesn't have to appear above the fold either. So anyways, that's that. Tell recipients where you're located. Again, we just talked about the address. Tell them how to opt out. We just talked about that. Do it promptly, and then monitor what other people are doing on your behalf. That's Can Spam in a nutshell. It's easy. It's literally, it's so easy that actually a lot of people have said that Can Spam is I Can Spam, and Can Spam enables actual real for life spammers to legally spam people. So you can legally send spam basically in the US if you just follow those simple rules. We're not sending spam, we're sending legitimate business solicitations. To me, spam is phishing, identity theft, stealing people's information, not following through, like just trying to take their money and not provide an actual service, stuff like that. We're sending legitimate business solicitations, and that's fine. GDPR in the EU. So this is a hot topic. I'll probably offend a couple people here. A whole lot of Europeans have never read the law and don't even understand what it is. I've dealt with a lot of people who said that I'm violating GDPR when I have actually read the law, and I'm not at all. And a lawyer would tell them they're not at all. But they think that GDPR means that you can never contact them in any way, shape, or form without their permission. That's absolutely not true. GDPR is only about privacy. It's General Data Protection Regulation is what it stands for. And it's about privacy. So the big things are if you use someone's name or you send emails to a non-role-based email address. So like you can actually send to info@company.com because that's a role-based email address, and that's legal under GDPR. If you send to bob.smith@company.com and you send them an email, again, we're not doing emails, but if you did that without their permission, that is not legal because their name is in the email address, and that's a privacy violation. If you go out and scrape a bunch of businesses' websites and you get the business owner's name off of the website and you put it in an Excel sheet and throw it in GSA website contact and use that, and you say, hi Bob, because you got Bob's name off the website, and you use that in the contact form and you do that in the EU, that is illegal because you use their name. As long as you do like I show in the videos and you just are sending a message and you don't include any personal identifiable information. If you put someone's cell phone number in the message that you got off, if it's a business number, it's fine to my knowledge, but if it's a cell phone number, that's personal. So if you scrape that off the website for some reason and try to include that, that's there. If you buy a list of businesses and you use the business owner's name or their cell phone number or any personal identifiable information in the message, in the EU, that's not legal under GDPR unless you have their consent first. So for our purposes, we don't have consent. So just don't include any personal information. Just say, hey, your website's broken. Do you want me to fix it? And then put your name or a name or whatever, and then give them a link to a landing page or ask them to reply. You didn't include any personal information about the person you're sending it to, so that's completely legal under the EU. Plus, I've worked with clients in the EU, and they actually just don't even care. They're like, yes. But the point of that is that the big companies like Google, where they can make $10 million on a fine, that's who gets fined under GDPR. You have to create enough havoc for them under GDPR for them to even go after it, because it's the government that does it, and deal with it. And so the companies I've worked with in the EU that want to send messages, they don't even care because we're at such a low level that it doesn't even matter. But as long as you don't include personal identifiable information in the message, you're fine. That was a nice 12-minute rant. So in recap, CAN spam is easy. Just follow the basic rules. GDPR in the EU is easy. Don't include personal identifiable information such as names or cell phone numbers or that sort of stuff that you scrape off of a website or that you get on a purchase list. On the list that I sell, for the record, there is no personal identifiable information, so you're good to go. All of my lists are compliant as long as you follow CAN spam rules. All right, thanks guys, and stick with it. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments down below or drop an email. You can hit me, support@ryanborden.com or support@chasereiner.com, and we'll get you set up. So lastly, I showed this at the beginning, and I'm just going to show it again, and I'm going to read it. So I'm done with all useful information. It's here. You can listen to me read it. Probably useful, but the information that we provide in the website and the course is not intended to constitute legal advice. I'm not an attorney, and any information and materials provided from a legal standpoint are for general information purposes only. Information on the website or the course may not constitute the most up-to-date legal advice. Means I showed you the website today, but it could change tomorrow, so you should actually go read the CAN spam rules on the government website and check out GDPR. Do your due diligence. This website and course contains links to other third-party websites, and such links are only for the convenience of the reader. ContactPhoneMarketing.com, which is the list site, ChaseReiner.com, and RyanBorden.com. Its employees and members do not recommend or endorse the contents of any third-party sites. Readers of the website should contact their attorney to obtain advice with respect to any particular legal matter, and the views expressed here are the views of their individual authors, and not necessarily those of ContactPhoneMarketing.com, RyanBorden.com, ChaseReiner.com, the committee or task force as a whole, or anything else. All liability with respect to actions taken based on the contents of this site or course are hereby expressly disclaimed. The content of this post is provided as is. No representations are made that the content is error-free. So there you go, guys. Go out there and do it right, but CAN spam's been the same since 2003, and GDPR came out in 2018, 2019, and it's not really changed. So anyways, just do it right. Take 5 minutes, get yourself an address, get your opt-out set up, and just check all the boxes, and you're good to go.
Section 6, contact forms. Works great for videos. Video 4, getting set up with proxies. What is proxies?
Let's talk about what a proxy is. So a proxy is, imagine having a different internet connection. So you have your internet connection with what you're connecting to the internet right now is your internet connection. So it's basically it's like your IP address. So if I Google what is my IP address is this, right? So if this is my IP address and I start sending contact form messages from my IP address, then whoever gets my message can basically look at their logs on their website and see that they got a message from my IP. Now, if you send off enough messages from one IP address, let's say your IP address, you can start getting complaints to that IP address, okay? And that's not good because you can start getting your IP address reported to your internet company, and your internet company can get mad at you and shut off your internet. So what we do instead is we use something called proxies, and a proxy is basically a way to switch your IP address. So instead of you sending a message from this, you send a message from a IP address that you buy. That's what a proxy is. It's like a proxy IP address, right? It's a substitute IP address. Now what we can do is we can head over to a website called My Private Proxy, and I'll leave a link in the description of this video so you can get a special deal on a proxy. So instead of Googling it, go to the link. But you're gonna get, once you click on the link, you're gonna go to this website, and you just wanna click on private proxies. Now you can literally get started with, like, let's say 10 proxies or 20 proxies. The way this works is you can send out more messages when you, at a time, faster. Basically, you can send at a higher rate when you have more proxies. If you have less proxies, you can't send as many messages because you're sending through less connections. So if you have 200 proxies, you can basically send out messages through 200 different addresses. Whereas with this, you can only send out, it's basically a 10x rule. So for 20, you can send out 200 messages a second. For 200, you can send about 2,000 messages a second. Now you might be thinking, well, why would I want to send out 2,000 messages a second? Well, you'd want to send out 2,000 messages a second if you have a list of 20 million contact forms, which you can get. It's definitely doable. I have a list of 20 million contact forms myself, and if I wanted to send out 20 million messages, even with 2,000 messages a second, it's still going to take me a while to do this because I'm going to have to do some things to automate it. So either way, you can start with, let's say, 20 proxies or even 10. You could even start with 1 if you wanted to, but just grab something. Let's just say you grab 20, click on Get Started. So when you go buy these proxies, they're going to ask you for a use case, or just say Other, choose proxies location, United States, click on Continue, and then you're going to buy your proxies. Now, when you buy your proxies, if you click on Customer Area, just enter in our emails. Hopefully I can remember it. Log in, maybe that's it. There we go. You're going to have your services here, right? So you can see I have 2 services. I have 2 different orders for 200 proxies. So I actually have 400 proxies right now. And if I click on the services here, I can see my proxies. These are the ones that are active. Now, if I want to download these proxies for my tool, for the contact forms, I can go to My Proxies here. And here's all my proxies, all my passwords. I'm going to have to change this, by the way, because you guys can just log into it. But by the time you see this, I'll just update the password. But you're going to click on Download Full Proxy List. And now this proxy list you can use on your server. So if you go to your contact forms. So if you go to your contact forms and you click on your project, so Plumbers Near Me, we can configure, add proxies, and then we can upload from our clipboard or from our file. So we just import from file and we go to our proxies wherever we have them saved. So say that's our proxies, press OK, and it'll just load all of them up in there. And then what you want to do is just click on test and make sure they all work. So you just do test all, and then it'll go through and test and make sure they work. So you want these to show up in green. You might have a couple that show up in red. That's not a big deal. But that's how you get your proxies loaded up. And you want to make sure that when you have your proxies loaded, to make sure you click on Use Proxies for search engines. And then when you click on Submission Content, you also want to use proxies for sending, because you're going to be sending messages from these proxies as well. Okay? So that's the basics of proxies. And if you're a little bit confused, don't worry. Just go back through the video, replay it, watch it again. There is a little bit of a learning curve with this stuff, but once you get it, it's pretty basic. And by the way, if I get enough people saying in the comments of this video that they really don't understand how to set this stuff up and they want like a done for you service, let me know and I will try to put together a done for you service. And I will link it in the description of this video if I do end up doing it. So that way we can just set it up for you. I'm not guaranteeing whether or not we will do that, but if I get enough people saying and asking for it within the comments of this video, I will consider putting it in the description of this video. So check back in this video if we do end up putting it here. If you don't see it, then it means that we decided not to put together a done for you service. Okay, so we'll see you in the next one.
Video 6, contact forms, works great for videos. Video 5, scraping websites and filling out your info.
Now that you have some proxies and you have your contact form software set up, we can start gathering some websites. Now there's a couple different ways to do this, but I'm going to show you the most basic way. So as you remember, hopefully from the first thing that we did where we added plumbers near me, that was basically a keyword that we want to target. Now we can add plumbers in a bunch of different areas. So we can actually import a list of keywords, or we can just enter them manually. I'm just going to show you how to do this manually, and then we'll talk about how to enter more at a time. So data, let's just say I want plumbers in Arizona. And then let's say I want another one. I want, I'm going to add, enter. I want plumbers in California. And I could even do like, a certain city like Santa Barbara or Los Angeles, right? Let's just do Los Angeles, in Los Angeles. Now what this tool is going to do is when I press OK here, and I click on start, and I make sure I have this highlighted here, right? So instead of it highlighting this one, it's highlighting this one. When I click on start and I click scrape for new websites, this is going to go through everything that shows up for those different keywords, and it's going to start finding all these different websites, anything that it can find for these keywords. And you can see it was a little stopped for a second. Sometimes this takes a second to run. It gets a little bit buggy if you run a lot of things at once. But you can see we already got 1,600 sites. We'll get more and more. And hopefully a lot of these websites are going to be for plumbers. So you can see all the keywords that are being used to find these different websites, the dates, the source, the website, right? Now, if we click on stop, we could either leave it running or we click on stop. Now we can actually end up sending these websites a message. So if I double click on this and I go to submission content, I have all these different fields I can fill out. So I have my first name, I have my last name, I have my company, and this is all the stuff that's going to fill out within the contact forms. Now, you might not want to share your first name, especially if you're sending out millions of contact forms or hundreds of thousands, and you're sending out like a message to a random affiliate offer you have, then you might not want to send your first name or your email. However, if they're going to be in contact with you and you're selling a service and that you want them to know your name, let's say it's Chase or something, then you would want to put your name here. So let's say I was reaching out to them for a service. I could say, okay, instead of it being a random first name, I can click on this, click on self-defined, click on OK, and say my first name is Chase. But maybe I don't want to give my last name. Maybe I don't want them to look me up, so I'll just do a random last name. And this will just choose a random name here. Or I can click on self-defined name, Reiner, if I want to give my real last name. Now choose whatever you want, whether it's self-defined or random. I'm just going to do random. And because I send out a crazy amount of contact forms, I usually just do random on everything. We can add an email here. Now you want to be careful about this as well. If you put your own self-defined email and this goes to a real email box that you have, so like, I'm at chasereiner.com, this will fill up like insanely fast with autoresponders. And I'll actually show you an example of this. Let me go to one of my emails here. Go to this one. I send out, I don't know, a few million contact forms with this email as the auto response. And you can see I have 40,000 emails in here. All right. So you're going to get your email inbox destroyed if you do this. So you might want to have a burner email because you will see people that will respond, and you can just go look through here until you see responses. But after a while, you're just going to not be able to see anything. So it's better to have them respond to a phone number. So what I do, I found, is instead of putting your email, just do a random email. So let's just do like random. But in your message, you're going to say, give me a call. Okay. Because then when they call you, or you can say, give me a text, then you're going to be able to keep track of that a lot easier. You're going to get less responses if you do it this way, but you'll probably get more qualified leads. It's really up to you though. If you're going to be sending lower volume, just put your email and just create a burner email. If you're going to be sending higher volume, then probably use a phone number. So same sort of principle. We're going to say, hi, my name is Chase. I noticed something wrong with your plumbing website, right? Because now we're targeting specifically plumbers. Do you have a second to chat about it? Here's my number. And then you would put your phone number. Now you can create burner phone numbers, and I'll show you how to create like a CRM so that it keeps track of all your leads as well, something like Go High Level. But the easiest way is just to go to Google Voice or go to Skype and just get a free number. So if I go to Skype, this is what I was using for a while. Skype allows you to buy a phone number. If I go to here, you can see these are all these leads coming in. Go to the little dots up here, settings, and phone number, Skype number. You can just click on get a Skype number and then you just paste this in. So we would grab that, say, here's my phone number, call or text me when you have a second. Okay, boom. So there we go. I won't put the 1, I'll just put that. Press OK. And then for the subject, you would say, is your plumbing business still running? Okay. So the more you can personalize this and make it specific to who you're outreaching to, the more they're going to think this is real and not spam. So if I say, is your plumbing business still running versus, is your website still running? This is going to seem more applicable, right? Because then they're going to be like, how did they know I had a plumbing business? Now, you don't have to specify all of this stuff. You can do random email, random phone number. A lot of the time, these contact forms aren't going to have these fields anyways. So I usually just specify those things, press OK. And now if I click on start and send, make sure I didn't put my email there because I don't want to blow up my email. Yeah, it's random. Now if I click on start and send, click on yes, you can see this is the message that's going to send. Hi, my name is Chase. I noticed something wrong with your plumbing website. Do you have a second to chat about it? Here's my phone number. Call or text me when you have a second. Boom. And you might get a lot of people that don't have plumbing websites. Like this might crawl websites that aren't plumbing websites. But I don't really care because those people aren't going to contact me, right? So you might be thinking, like a lot of people say, well, Chase, can you just give me, is there a way that you can get a list of only plumbers? And this probably will be a list of 70 to 80% plumbers. So don't worry about the 20% who get your message. They're not going to see your real email or your real name most of the time anyways, and they're going to get your burner phone number. So just reach out to the people that you think will probably be applicable, that's going to be within a range, than worrying about every single website being applicable. But anyways, this is going to send, you can see it's freezing for a second because it's kind of trying to start, but this is going to start sending out a bunch of messages. And it usually get about a 50% success rate. So you can see for every 300,000 messages I send, I get about 300,000 failed. That's about right. So don't worry if you see a bunch of messages fail, that's just part of the game. So this is still waiting. I'm not sure. Did I click yes? Oh, and then if it says use only selected items, don't do that because right now we're not selecting any items. So click on no anytime it asks this. There we go. And now you can see it says please wait. All right, now it's sending out messages. And there we go. Now it's sending out a bunch of messages. Now you can see we got a bunch of failed already. Don't worry about that. You might also notice with local businesses, you may have less success, but even within a couple seconds here, we already have 500 messages sent, right? So 500 businesses are probably going to see this message that we just sent that are probably likely plumbing businesses. And already we're going to probably get some responses very, very quickly. So pretty crazy. I'll show you how to automate this even further in the next video.
Section 6, contact forms, works great for videos. Video 6, warming up social accounts and getting views with contact forms.
Can you warm up videos and social accounts by utilizing contact forms? The answer is yes. That is what we're going to talk about in this video. My name is Ryan Borden, and let's jump into how we are going to do this. So when we first create accounts, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, etc., right? those accounts are going to display the videos. Some more than others. TikTok, for example, might give you a pretty good jump in and display because of how they work, whereas YouTube is going to be much slower on displaying your videos when you have no subscribers or when you're in the early days and that sort of stuff. So different accounts are going to benefit differently, but this really is just focusing on how you can warm up those accounts, because once the account gets warmed up, they're going to give you more reach and display your videos to more people, thus more views, thus more sales, or whatever you're trying to accomplish there. So let me show you. Let's say I have a video. So I just have a video up here in ShineRanker. This is a video about a cat. Obviously, with the video tools, you could make whatever. I can obviously just download this and upload it to whatever social account. I'm going to work with YouTube because YouTube is very slow. Obviously, this exact same method applies to absolutely anything. And by anything, I mean any social platform, that sort of thing. So this is a YouTube channel. I just created it. It's, whatever. This is just an AI person. And so I threw up a couple of videos on it. This video you can see here is the if we go back over here, it's the top 5 website videos. And then this is another rendition of it that I was just playing around with. And this is the video that's more like the text to image tool. So like the cat video kind of thing. Obviously not a cat, but whatever, right? So I just made a few videos and threw them up. I've been testing with this account. So usually when you throw up a video on YouTube, the first few videos, you're going to get like 1 view, 2 views. You might get 0 views. These reviews all have come from contact forms, just with me messing around a little bit. If you want to get serious and start a system, obviously you can begin to crank these views up to, over 1,000. That'll take a minute. You've got to, work on that. And I'm not saying you even need to get them to over 1,000, but you can get them cranked up. All of these views you see here came from contact forms. I literally got like 2 views from organic reach on YouTube. But once you start to get them from contact forms, then eventually you're going to get more from organic reach as well. And then you can get from both, obviously. So obviously the views count, and you can even make sales from the contact form views, but that's not what we're really focusing on, the sales part right now. This is just a video about warming up the account. So let's just do this. If I have a video here, so let's say I have this one, and I'm just going to go grab the share link and copy it and go in here to the actual contact form project. So I just have one already set up here. I was using it for something else. We're going to go to submission content. And of course, there's already other videos in the checklist that kind of walk you through all of these processes. So I'm just going straight to the concept here. I'm going to change the message and just put like, let me pause the video here while I type this out. And so I just put like, this guy is earning a crazy amount of money for his wife. YouTubers have found, and social media people that have tested massive amounts of videos have found that, and this just goes to standard sales copy. Sales copy backs this up and has been this way for decades, forever, I guess, if you look at psychology, is that if you talk about you, so talk about them, it's all about them. So say you, or you talk about this guy where you're pointing the lens to somebody else. In this case, since it's a making money video, people may, they may be leery of saying, oh, hey, you can make a bunch of money, but they'll obviously always watch and believe that somebody else can make a bunch of money. And you can study that psychology. But this is about experimentation. I'm not saying that you should use this exact message, because you shouldn't. But if you talk about this guy, or you talk about you, as in them, then those are good things to do. So it doesn't have to be long messages, usually 1 to 3 sentences. And then you can just pop the YouTube video or the TikTok video or whatever straight in here. You can use a redirect domain here if you run into issues. I have not run into any issues, so I'm just using the direct URL. Of course, I have my opt-out stuff down here. And then, I need to actually add the opt-out website right here. So I'll do that. And then basically we're going to get out of here and start it up. But let me add that opt-out website. All right, I added the opt-out. So now we are just going to load in some contact forms. So if you have your contact forms, there's other parts in the video, or you can buy them from the shinecontactforms.com. And let me just grab a list I already have. So I have those loaded in. There's other videos showing how to do all this, so I didn't want to. I'm just going to right here and importing URLs from file, and just the file that I have downloaded from the shinecontactforms.com. And so now that I have it, I'm just going to go ahead and hit start. And what's going to happen is it's going to give us our message. We can see this guy is earning a crazy amount of money for his wife. And then this, yes, continue. It's going to start sending that message out, obviously. and we can see the messages counting up here. Of course, we've got some failed, some filtered, all of that is normal, but we can see the messages cranking along. So that's like, 30 something people that have 40 that have seen it, that got a message now, and that they can click on our video. So when they click on the video, they watch the video, obviously, and then they can leave likes and they can leave messages, comments rather, and that sort of stuff. And so that's it. That's basically it. So you just load in different URLs when you post a video to YouTube or TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, whatever it is that you're doing. You just take the URLs, load them into a message, and I just make the message relevant, something sort of relevant about the video itself. You probably wouldn't want to say, hey, did you see this cat? And then send them a video on how to make money, obviously. And there's some deceptiveness there anyways. So you just don't want to do that. So obviously make it somewhat relevant to, if you're, trying to do SEO. If the video is about SEO, did you see how this person's ranking their website with crazy SEO? I don't know, right? You get the point. The message can be whatever. You can use ChatGPT to write the message. It's not terribly important. I mean, you don't want like a horrible message, and you don't want something that's like, 30 sentences, because that'll be just too much. No one will read it. You just want a short and sweet message that is 1 to 3 sentences. And if you don't know what to do, just have ChatGPT write it. You can give it literally the title of the video and say, write me a 3-sentence message that I could send out as an email. And then you can do that, right? So that's really easy. And then you just send them. And then this is just going to run while we sleep, while we eat, while we do whatever. And obviously I can duplicate out more projects. I have to stop it first, but I can duplicate out more projects and then begin to load in other lists and either promote multiple videos at once, or I could, promote the same video to different lists, whatever, right? Because in the shinecontactforms.com, there's different, there's different lists that you get. It's, if you go here, there's different, you get like USA contact forms and worldwide contact forms and so on and so forth, right? So that's all I'm saying. You can make your own list. You can buy the list. It doesn't matter how you get the list. What matters is that you take the list, you load it in, and you promote your videos that you upload to different social platforms. And that is how you can both warm up the accounts and also increase the views of the videos, which ultimately is, and then your subscribers too. And that's ultimately going to give you more reach on the whole. And the more reach you get, the more people that watch your video, the more calls to action you get, which ultimately is going to result in sales, which makes you money.
Section 6 contact forms works great for videos. Video 7 direct sales and a degree of separation for affiliates.
Can you directly create sales by utilizing contact forms with your videos? The answer is absolutely, most definitely yes. So there is 2 things that you gain by utilizing contact forms with your videos, and I've just got a video making here in ShineRanker. Will be done in a second, and I'm going to use that to show you here. But let me just tell you what those things are. So that means 1, direct sales. What does that mean? Obviously, everybody wants to make sales. Let's say you're promoting ShineRanker here, and you have your affiliate link, and you put those in the videos, which I'm going to show you how to do, and the other videos in the checklist show you how to do anyways. But then you obviously want to make sales, but we don't want to send the contact forms directly to that affiliate link. We want to use the videos like a bridge video. It's like warming them up. I like to call it lead laundering, except legal, right? So kind of like money laundering, except for legal, right? So that's the joke that I always use. But the point here is that you want to be able to do that, and you also want to add a degree of separation for affiliates. So obviously you can promote things besides ShineRanker, but if you promote certain things, they don't necessarily like it when you send contact forms directly to affiliate links. Some affiliates don't, because they might get a complaint. And while it's not illegal or anything like that, as long as you do it correctly, they don't like complaints, so they can kick you out and keep your money. Obviously, that's bad. The way you do that is by adding a degree of separation. If you send the contact forms and you mail out contact forms, not mailing them out, but you sending them with GSA, which I'll show you, contact forms, and that goes to a video. By the time the person gets to the video and clicks the link, then they're redirected through a domain redirect link and into your affiliate link. And then you have what I call a degree of separation. And then if you want to go to the affiliate, if the affiliate got a complaint, you can be like, look, the leads are coming from the video. And you can point to the videos, they can see the views, and you can be like, what, I'm not sending, nothing's happening, I'm not breaking any rules, because that doesn't violate there are terms and conditions. Now, I'm not saying that affiliates can't do whatever they want, because they're going to do whatever they want anyways. I'm saying that you're most likely not going to generate the complaint in the first place. And if there is an issue, you can point to the videos and say, this is where the traffic is coming from, and they can see that. And so you can avoid those issues with affiliates getting upset because if there were a complaint. So how do we do this? Well, there is a video here that is just generated in ShineRanker. I'm just going to download it. So let me pause the video and do that. And in case you didn't know, I'm just clicking here and clicking download is all I'm doing, and then saving it to my local disk. And so I saved it. And if we get out of this, I'm going to go ahead and just go in here to CapCut, because remember, our goal is to make direct sales. So the video, I'm sure ShineRanker will change and over time, but the video that comes here, it doesn't have any necessary, like I built in a call to action when I made the video, but it doesn't have like the text. So look, you probably can't hear it very well, but there's no text on the screen. So we need to add the text on the screen, because in the text on the screen, and then we can put a banner in there with our call to action, and I'll show you here in a second, right? So let's get out of this. I'm going to open up CapCut, which is just a free software you can get from CapCut.com if you don't already have it. I think there's other videos in the checklist about this, but it's just CapCut.com. It's free. I would recommend downloading the desktop version, whether you're on Windows or Mac. It works for both. I think it even works for Linux, but download the desktop version, and then I'm going to create a new project. And let me pull this over here and open on the other screen. And let's just resize this. Got it. I'm going to go in here and import my actual video that I just did. And it is right here. And so I have the video. I'm going to drag it down here. And now I have my video, as I can go through here and see, but there's no auto caption. So we're going to go to text. And we're going to do a couple things here. Auto captions right here. And I'm going to hit just create. It's just English. Give that a moment. It will automatically create our captions for us. All right. So I have my captions running here. You can see they're really small. I'm going to click on them and just click on one of them right here. You know, like click right here or whatever. And then I like to run it up to around 13, 14 size font. And then I'm going to do this one. There's not a wrong answer here. You can do your own creative process of whatever kind of colors you like, whatever. That's a little light. Let's go just a hair bigger on that. Because a couple of those scenes, that's hard to read. All right, let's see. Yeah, good enough. And so now I have that, and somewhere at the end here, I have a call to action. So I build it into my script. So we can see right here, I'm just going to change this. This is ShinebotAI.com. You can adjust your whateverness. Now we want to actually add a little bit of a another banner here. So let me play this here. Let me so you can hear it. Not sure where this is going to play, but let's try it.
Financial stress. Turning this vivid visual into reality is within reach. Start earning money now. Just go to shinebot.a.com and kickstart your financial revival journey.
Okay, so it didn't even say it right. And I'm just going to do text and add text, grab a box and come in here. I'm holding down control and scrolling with my mouse, but you can use the little zoom functions right here to make this bigger.
Okay,
let's go over here.
Earning money now.
All right, start earning money now. I'm going to stick this right up here. And I'm just going to give this like a yellow, and we're going to put shinebotai.com. And I'll make this a little bit bigger. One tip, I would say don't make it all the way to the edge, because some screens, they roll the screen around the side to give, in fact, my old phone did that. And when you do that, like the text starts to wrap around the side and you can't see it. So I like to leave a little space just there on the sides to compensate for that. And you can leave it right here in the middle. You don't want to stick it like at the very top. You want it within the middle 60% of the video, because up here, the platforms will stick text and stuff, and down here, that's why the text right here doesn't go any lower. It's nice to maybe not stick it over top of their faces. So right there.
Now, just go to shinebot.a.com and kickstart your financial revival journey.
All right, and I'm actually gonna make it a little longer. I'm just gonna stick it to the end of the video so they have a chance to see it. Maybe not quite all the way, whenever it stops talking here. There's not a right or wrong answer. Sometimes making it shorter, they'll replay it, but
Just go to shinebot.a.com and kickstart your financial revival journey.
all right, there's that. In fact, I'm actually gonna shorten this video to when they stop talking because I don't fail to see the point of
Journey.
having it longer. All right, so 45 seconds, perfect. All right, so now we've added our call to action. You could add a call to action somewhere else, like in the middle. I wouldn't, in a 45-second video, I probably wouldn't do more than 2. So you could add one in the middle and one here at the end. This is the call to action. I'm telling them to go to a website, right? And they actually went ahead. It makes sense at the end, of course. Your call to action as well, if you're trying to warm up an account, sometimes for a while I put the call to actions, I just put this as subscribe or like and subscribe or like, whatever, because I'm trying to get more engagement on the video. So I'll spend some time. In fact, I did this on a channel I was working on one of my newer channels just for the past couple of months. I spent like 2 months just putting all the videos as like and subscribe because I was trying to increase the subscriber count and not worry about sales. Because like on a brand new account, you may not get sales. Like it depends on the social accounts, right? Because for example, YouTube is going to give you very low views and very low reach on new accounts. And Facebook and Instagram typically do the same thing as well as Twitter, whereas TikTok can give you high reach straight away because of how the algorithm works. It's just different. But so on those other platforms outside of TikTok, subscribers still currently matter. Now that might change over time, but so you can do whatever you want with the call to action here. I'm assuming that you're not focusing on subscribing here and that you're actually focusing on sales, which is the point of this video, a degree of separation and sales. And so we have stuck the exact URL in here. So now it's just a matter of exporting this and sticking it wherever it is that I need to stick it here and export. And then I'm going to upload it to my channel. And so that's really easy, of course, just uploading. I'm sticking it on YouTube at the moment. And let's grab the file we just did. And it is I think it's in here. There it is. And threw in a title. No, it's not made for kids. Keep going. And then no, public. And I need this URL for my contact form. So I'm just going to copy this. You can obviously go back and get it later. And in the last video on this checklist, or a different video, I'm not sure where this will actually fall, but I showed you how to warm up, getting views and warming it up. But here it is. It's processing. It's going to take just a second. So I'm going to go ahead. We're going to set it up. But assuming it's done, we'll be able to go here and watch it. And there it is. But obviously, it's still processing. And so now we have to promote it with the contact form. So pop open website contact here. And I'm just going to open up a project, submission content, and message. And then stick it in here. Let me pause this and do a little message here. All right, so this guy's earning crazy money for his kids and spending more time with them because the video was about kids. Here's the YouTube video, whatever. Again, you want to keep the messages short, 1 to 3 sentences. You can have ChatGPT write the message for you. Just here's a video title, ChatGPT, now please give me a 1 to 3 sentence message I could use in an email. We're not sending emails, but that would be the closest equivalent for ChatGPT. And then I'm going to put just a title. I like one-word titles, lowercase and that sort of stuff. Now I'm just going to start it and hit submit. And no, I don't want to just the messages there. And then this guy's earning a crazy amount of money for his kids, yada, yada, yada. Got the compliance opt-out stuff down here. Yes, continue. And away we go. It was already at 401. I just used the same project, but you can see it's starting to crank away here under the sent. And it is now sending that URL out. It won't matter. It's not really done yet, but in a few minutes here, this will be watchable.
Are you financially strapped and searching for ways to make money online? We've got solutions. Unleash the potential of the digital world. It's time to turn your fortunes around. No prerequisites, no restrictions, just your determination and a trusty internet connection. Envision freedom from financial worries, affording every little thing you've wanted for your kids. Imagine the joy and smiles of your kids when you can give them everything they yearn for. Picture spending quality moments with your children, all because you have more time and less financial stress. Turning this vivid visual into reality is within reach. Start earning money now. Just go to shinebot.a.com and kickstart your financial revival journey. Are you financial?
All right, so we had our call to action there. I like to give it a like because you can actually influence the likes, and why not, when somebody shows up, already have a like, and away we go. So now we're messaging people about this video. They can go here, they can watch the video, they see the call to action, which was the shinebotai.com, and if they go ahead and go there to shinebotai.com and click it, of course it redirects through the affiliate link. And here we are, they can sign up for ShineRanker, and your affiliate link is going to get the credit for that, means you get the credit for that. And anytime they buy, you get whatever the percentage is that you get when someone signs up for ShineRanker. Obviously, you'd use the same thing in it. Now, the Shinebot AI, the one thing I didn't cover here is, like, how do I make that shinebotai.com? That is just a redirect link. I have other videos in the checklist, as well as Chase, that shows how to make that. So I'm not going to show like how to create that, but once you create it, away you go. And so again, our goal here was to get direct sales, and we can do that when they watch the video. They can go to the website and then they can sign up and buy, and then you get paid. And we were also able to add a degree of separation for affiliates here. So most affiliates are going to say you can't use contact forms directly on your affiliate link. Like, you can't take your affiliate link and put that in the actual contact form program. So when we did our message, remember here, we put the video link. They watch the video, which people like to do anyways. That warms them up, makes them more likely to buy in general, and it adds trust so that by the time they get to the affiliate link, they already trust it more, and they can then enter that into their browser. They can go there, they can buy, and then you get paid. So you get to add your degree of separation. You get to be able to point to your video if there ever were an issue with the affiliate. And when you apply to new affiliates, you can say, okay, if you were applying to another affiliate, you can say, well, how are you going to get your traffic? They always ask that question. You can point to then your social platforms that you have, that you've created and warmed up by using contact forms. And all of it happens from the contact forms. And it doesn't really matter where you get the contact forms from. I already have a list loaded in here. You can get them from the shinecontactforms.com, where you buy them. You can go ahead and scrape them. There's a video on that in the checklist. It doesn't really matter where you get them from. This is what I'm talking about here. Whoop. If you go here, you can buy millions of contact forms as well, ready to go. And you can use them and just load them in. You can scrape them here in your project utilizing keywords. You can do whatever you want, but you need obviously to have a list of contact forms. There's like 700-something thousand here. That's what we're doing. I just want to make it clear. Those contact forms, that's what we're doing. We're sending messages to them, and then someone gets the message. It's going to show up in their email box. They click the link. They now watch our video that we created and edited in CapCut, and now they can go there and they can buy, and then you get paid.
Section 6, contact forms, works great for videos. Video 8, buying contact lists.
I want to cover a few other ways to start scraping websites. So that way, if you don't want to use the keyword scraper inside of GSA Contact, you can just grab URLs from some other tools. So another way to do this is to grab a free trial to something like SEMrush or Ahrefs. I'll leave links. I think I have a free 30-day trial to SEMrush if you want to use this tool. And you might be thinking, well, why not use ShineRanker? Because ShineRanker doesn't have a feature that I'm about to share with you in it yet. It hopefully will in the future. But the feature that we're going to be using is basically just going to, let's just say we go to SEMrush and we click on the enter domain URL or keyword. We're going to type in Plumbers, Arizona, click on search. And if we scroll down, we're going to get a bunch of different websites, right? So we could export all of these websites, and you can see I need the free trial to do this, but we could export all of these websites, and with that file, we can just plug that directly into GSA Contact. So instead of doing the scraping like I showed you a second ago, you could add your own URLs and then just pull from whatever you just had, which was SEMrush. Another option you have is I have a link to a guy that sells these lists. I actually buy these lists personally. So I spend over $1,000, I think $2,000, somewhere around in the thousands range per month on different lists depending on how many messages I want to send. And the guy who does this is actually the guy that does all the tutorials on Scrapebox. His name's Ryan. But I have a link that, let me go get the link for you. I'll put it in the description of this video. I have a link where you can buy these contact forms from him. And what he does is he actually goes and scrapes these all himself, and then he sells the lists. And for me, it's a lot easier to do it like that because I'm no longer having to spend all of my time scraping lists and then sending messages. All I have to do is just send messages to the list. So I don't actually have to find all the URLs. Now, the list that he sells, it's right here. I'll leave a link in the description of this video. The lists that he sells are general, right? So what he does is he just downloads archives of domains, of websites, and he just scans them. Let me click on here so you can see this. So every 2 million contact forms is like $100. And I buy about 20 million contact forms, new contact forms a month. You probably won't need that many. Even with 2 million contact forms, you'll be able to do a lot. So if you go grab that, again, it's $99. You'll get 2 million contact forms instantly that you can just put into the software. And all you have to do is you click on checkout. He gives you a fresh list, and it's not like contact forms that are like, months or years old. He gets new contact forms every month that he's constantly scraping new websites and getting new verified contact forms, and he's selling the lists. Now, what you do is you go grab those contact forms. It's just a downloadable file, and I'll show you. If we double click on this, add your own URLs. These are all contact forms that I bought, right? So if I wanted to add new ones, let's just say I want to add, let me delete these here. I'm just going to delete these old ones because I've already sent messages out to these ones. We'll just remove, right click, remove all, double click, add our own URLs. And the way I keep track of these is I just put like a little letter next to it so I know that I sent messages. And so I'm going to double click on this one. It's going to say, do we want to import against my global blacklist? I'm just going to say yes. And that just basically means if I added any blacklist websites, if they complained or something. But I don't really add any personal information in here, so I don't really worry about it. So it's going to import. And now I'm going to have a million URLs. You can see 100 were blacklisted already. But I'm going to have a million URLs that I can just start sending messages to. So click on send, go, and now it's going to send out all these messages to that website, those websites. So whether you want to scrape them yourself or you want to buy them, it's up to you. I think that buying them is easier. Obviously, you're going to have a more general list. But what I like to say again is, if you're going to be helping only plumbers or you're going to be helping only certain types of websites, create some sort of generalized niche. So like say you only help home service businesses, or say you only help local businesses. Create a message that says, hey, I saw there was something wrong with your local business. And maybe there's only 30% of the list that is local businesses, but still, if you can get 30%, that's 300,000 businesses contacted that are local businesses. So don't worry too much about the list being general. I would say go for higher quantity and just craft your message around something that's a little bit more general, maybe not so specific.
Section 6, contact forms. Works great for videos. Video 9, no success yet? Troubleshooting your bots.
We've been getting a lot of feedback in the program about different things not working, or maybe messages aren't sending, or opt-ins are breaking. And so what I want to do is I want to go over troubleshooting your bots. All right, so let's go into somebody's VPS that is having a hard time with the bots. If I go into here, you can see we have the keyword SEO that was searched for. If I double click, I can see what else we got in here. Yeah, a bunch of different SEO type keywords. And we got 17,471 sites scraped, 2,677 messages sent. So how do we send more messages? First of all, this is a really high fail rate. You usually want about 50-50. When I send out messages, I usually get about 50% of the sites that I send to succeeding, which is probably around how high you're going to be able to get. So unless you're sending a bunch of messages, exporting the success, and then putting it into a file so you can keep track of the ones that are open and able to send messages to. But even then, people could end up changing their messages later or their contact forms. So it's not always guaranteed. Okay. So first thing, let's talk about sending the message. Now, if I go into the project, submission content, and message, what I'll see is the person who was making this message didn't put a link to their opt-in. Oh, it looks like they did now. Before, when I checked, there was no link to the opt-in. So if you're just sending messages without a link and you're just putting it in the website field, know that a lot of contact forms don't have the website field. You have to put it in the actual message. So if you didn't put the website in the message or your opt-in in the message, make sure you do that. You also want to keep track of the traffic. So when I start sending out messages, and I start sending out a ton of messages, I will usually see traffic nearly instantly. Let me actually show you. I'm going to load up a few of these. Let me go to this one. And if I click on start, actually, let me specify the message. When I start sending out messages, like check out, shineranker.com. Check out. And I like to do something like, I saw something wrong with your website. If you want to see what I found, check out a free report on shineranker.com. This is actually a message I use to get clients. I found that this works better for people that want to get audits or figure out what's wrong with their website. And you should experiment. A lot of people are asking me, Chase, what's the best message? Experiment. I mean, I constantly send new messages, and I again, you want to see how many people are going to your opt-in, how many people are opting in, and then you also want to see how much traffic you're getting. I'll type in, I found an issue with your website. Click on OK, OK, start, send, continue. I don't even think I have proxies set up yet on this, but I'm just going to show you a couple, because you can do a good amount of messages without using proxies, but anything over like 10,000, you will want to use proxies. But something I do want to point out is if you only have a couple proxies set up, you might not be able to send a ton of messages at a time, because the more proxies you have, usually the more messages you can send at a time in terms of how many messages you send per second. And I'll show you once this starts sending. Sometimes it takes a second. But when I click on options here while we wait, you can see I'm sending out 1,000 messages a second. If you have 100 proxies, you can usually send out 1,000 per second. If you only have 10 proxies, you're usually going to only do like 100. So you see how it says sent? So look, I'm getting about a 50-50. And the reason why also is I'm using the CAPTCHA breaker. So this thing right here will break CAPTCHAs, or at least it should. Let me actually stop this. We might not have it enabled. But that's why it's important to use all the step-by-step, because you might have missed setting up the CAPTCHA. You might have missed setting up the messaging. You might have messed up setting. So there's all these sort of little things that these details matter. And if you miss the steps, you're going to, one step mess up could end up ruining the whole system. Double click on this. We'll go to CAPTCHAs, add CAPTCHA breaker. Now it should start breaking CAPTCHAs. And we should start seeing them pop up here. So while that loads, I want to show you, because what's going to happen is as you start sending these messages, you want to make sure that traffic is showing up. If I go to analytics now on my website, and I might have to make a separate video so you can set up analytics. I'm not going to show you in this one because this is more troubleshooting. But when you set up analytics, you're going to see, this is everybody on the ShineRanker, on the Chase Reiner site. Let me show you ShineRanker. And I like to be able to see live traffic. You might have analytics for your page, how many visits you got. But look at this. We already got 4 visits to this page. And if we go to real-time locations, we'll see where these people are coming from. And so as we send more and more messages, look, now these captchas are getting broken. Let's see them going right here. Oh, yep. See that? See how it's sending kind of slow though? If I have more proxies, I can go to options and I can up the speed. But if you have the speed too high and you don't have enough proxies, then usually what's going to happen is you're going to get a bunch of failed. If you don't have CAPTCHA breaking set up, you're usually going to have this failed. If you don't have all your fields filled out, you're going to usually get a bunch of failed. But if we send this for a little bit, look at this. We're starting to get traffic. You see that? So it's pretty simple, but you have to remember that you need to have this stuff set up correctly. And again, it's just one part of the recipe. I'm telling you, if you're only sending contact forms and you're not following the other things that I'm saying, you're not replicating my strategies, you're going to have less results than what I'm getting. You're going to not have as good of results. So please, I'm adding new videos every day and I'm covering what you need to do manually, because just because I say, hey, you should start doing YouTube videos, I'm not making that up. I'm not just saying, hey, do YouTube videos. There's a reason. When you combine YouTube videos, you combine personalizing what you're doing with the contact forms, that's when you get the true power of the strategy. I'm telling you, okay? So if that makes sense, let me know and I'll see you in the next video.
Section 6, contact forms. Works great for videos. Video 10, Cloudflare protection.
Just a quick precursor. If you want to look in the YouTube description down below, I'm about to do a rant for like 5 minutes, and it's useful and it's important, but if you want to skip it and get straight to the heart of this, go for the timestamp here in the description down below to skip like the first 5 minutes. Hey guys, Ryan Borden here, working with Chase Reiner in the AI Profits course, and I want to talk to you for just a moment about protecting your links in your messages. So if you send any kind of URL, whether it's a call to action URL, affiliate URL, a landing page URL of your own design, your own product pages, or even an opt-out link, if you send a link in a message through Website Contact or through contactbot.ai when it's ready, if you send a message in here, then you need to have it protected. Otherwise, if you send a URL in the message, otherwise you can get a complaint. So give me 30 seconds and I'll tell you why you can get a complaint. And that is because the message can trigger spam filters and get on blacklists. And as far as I'm concerned, it's a legitimate business solicitation. Like if we go in here and we're sending a message and the message is basically some problem, hey, you have a problem, I can fix it, go here now. And this is, whether this is your affiliate link or whether this is your call to action landing page, squeeze page, whatever, or even if it's your opt-out link, if you choose to do opt-outs in an automated way, then you can get a complaint on that. And that complaint goes to the domain itself. So whatever domain shows up here. So if it's your affiliate link, it's going to go to the hosting page of the actual domain itself. For the affiliate link, they're going to get mad. They might cancel you. If you're hosting your own landing pages, it could go to, if you're doing through a CRM, it could go to their hosting. If you're doing it on your own self-hosted stuff like HostGator, Bluehost, DreamHost type stuff, it'll go to them. And whoever gets the complaint is going to get mad and shut you down if they get enough of them. Usually they have some grace, but if they get enough, they'll shut you down. And if you get too many complaints or get on the wrong blacklist, your domain can get confiscated by the registry or the registrar. So I'll tell you what all that means in like simplicity here in half a second. But as far as I'm concerned, these are legitimate business solicitations. This is no different than an ad on YouTube or a commercial on TV or a billboard. You didn't ask for those advertisements to be there, but they're in your face anyways, and no one complains about them. This is just our form of advertising, but the big companies like Google and Facebook and all the rest, they want you to pay them for all the traffic. They don't want you to be able to advertise like this. So I honestly truly believe they support spam filters to filter out legitimate spam, which is phishing, scams, people trying to steal money, that sort of stuff, and filter out legitimate business solicitations, which is what we do. So they don't want you soliciting. They want the money from you. They want you to buy ads. It's my opinion. You can have yours, and that's okay too. But what are we going to do to protect it? Well, remember the domain in the email takes the complaint. So what we do is we use a registrar, so registrars are people like Dynadot, and Dynadot is an actual registrar, and then the registry is like .com. So the people that own .com or the company entity is the registry. Either one can take a domain from you if you're on a blacklist, and some are worse than others. But the simplicity answer is use a company like Dynadot or NetIM or other companies. Don't use a company like Namecheap or GoDaddy because they're real soft. And if you get a complaint, like it's just over. They'll take the domain. I've had it happen. So I use Dynadot, and I've had exactly 0 issues ever from them. So let me log in and I'll show you this process. I'm logged in, but I want to say this because I fear at this point that we're 3.5 minutes into the video and no one has any idea what I'm talking about. We're going to use Cloudflare protection to protect the domain. So rather than putting our domain like ryanborden.com or chasereiner.com in the actual message, we're going to put a random domain like ryanscoolproduct.xyz or ryanscoolproduct.com. And that domain is going to redirect to ryanborden.com where I'm going to sell them something, or to my affiliate link, or to whatever, or to the opt-out page. But we're going to put in a redirect domain in there. We don't want to use a domain like Bitly or some other service because those get used so much in spam that that's a great way to get your messages sent straight to the spam filter. We're going to use Cloudflare. So now that we've clarified that and my rant about big companies is over, let's actually look at it. So if we have this domain, right, so I don't know, I'm going to pick one here. Let's just say that it's, lazycontactbot.com is one of the domains I have. It's not set up. So you just bought a domain, it's in here, and you're ready to go. And we are going to set this up. We're just going to go to Cloudflare. Now, there is 87 ways you can do this, right? There are services I have bought in the past that are entirely for redirects. There are, you can just buy a domain right in Dynadot and just do redirection that way. You can do redirection through your own web host, set up on like DreamHost and redirect, and I've done it all. My favorite is probably redirecting right through the host, but all these hosts don't seem to have, they don't add an SSL certificate, and that is important because if you don't, then sometimes it'll pop up when someone clicks the link and say this isn't secure, and then you lost the whole sale. And Cloudflare is free, so why not? So let me log into Cloudflare, and I'm logged in, right? So it doesn't really matter. You just create a free account, and we're just going to go to Add Site. And I probably have to blur a few things out here as I go through if something makes sense. But I'm going to go over here and grab my lazycontactbot.com. I'm going to add site. Then I'm going to go down here to free plan. Depending on how big your browser is, this rearranges, but the same concept. We're going free. It's going to scan the existing DNS records. If you literally just registered the domain like 10 seconds ago, this will come up blank. And if this comes up blank, it's not going to work right. So I would exit out, like register your domain and give it like 3 minutes before you do this. Basically, once you have some sort of records here, when it scans, hit continue, and basically you're done at this point. So you have to change the name servers. I'm going to copy these name servers and go back over here to Dynadot and punch in save the name servers. Dynadot is horrible about updating. Like, they're slow. I guess Namecheap is a little faster, but if I have to wait 5 minutes, it's supposed to be like 24, 48 hours anyways. I'm just impatient. Now, on this page, you can hit finish later. I like to go through it. It used to force you to, and it seems like it works a tiny bit better. Literally, I leave everything default. Just click save, 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 finish. So as they change this over time, like I said, they used to do it one way. It's always those same checks, so they may require it again. That's why I went through it. Just save it like it is, and now you're done. So like when you get to this page, where it's kind of like the overview page, which is the overview, you're done. Now you have to do, as far as the setup, now you need to do page rules. So how about page rules? Well, this is really easy. Where am I going to send lazycontactbot.com? Well, I'm going to send it over to contactbot.ai, right? so that if I didn't spell it right. That's why I like to load the domains. Case I keystroke. So contactbot.ai, right? So I'm going to grab the domain and I'm going to create a page rule. I'm going to put so this URL is just this right here, and we're just going to copy it. Actually, I do two, right? So we do one is just the domain name, and then pick a setting, forwarding URL 301. You could do 302 in some cases, but I just mostly do 301. I'm going to grab my domain name, stick it in here, and save and deploy page rule. You get 3 free page rules, by the way, which is perfect because we need 2 page rules for domains, and then 1 for the opt-out if we're using an opt-out method, which I'm not covering in this video. I'll cover in a different video. So now I'm going to make the next one, and the next one is just the www version, because some people inherently, when they type this in, they just put in www, or they literally will edit when they click links and they'll edit things. And it probably isn't a big issue. Depends on what you put in your actual message, but if they copy and paste that link out because it doesn't turn into a link for some reason, then I just like to do this step because it's worth not losing a customer over. So we're doing the same thing except for just www. We're not putting HTTPS or anything in here. We're just putting the domain name. And again, I'm putting where I want it to go here. Save and deploy. So now what's going to happen is I have 1 forwarding rule for www and 1 for not. Now, Cloudflare will create a certificate and add the certificate to the account, and that's all great and simple, and it just works. And they also are going to protect against, they're really fast and they work really well, and basically they give the certificate. So it probably won't work, but I'm going to punch it in here anyways. And so it is working. Oh no, it's still going to Dyna.parking, I bet. Yeah, see, it's still Dyna.parking. Like I said, they're a little slow to update their DNS, but like if we take, for example, a different one here, like Easy Video Bot is literally the exact same thing. So easyvideobot.com, and punch it in. It redirects to Pictory, right? And away we go. And so I can put easyvideobot.com in my message and be fine. I also, most of my ones in here are pretty basic. If I'm like testing a campaign, and I want to burn through a bunch of testing stuff, like I'm judicious with money, even though like I have the money to spend, I'm still judicious because I don't want to waste the money. I'll find out whatever domain name's on sale. So like .xyz or .info, whatever, if they're $2, I'll just buy a $2 domain and stick it in there. And I've had great success with that as well. So it's all about adding a degree of distance whenever you set up your messages. So it's like a game we have to play. We have to add a degree of distance. And in this case, the companies, as far as I'm concerned, are blocking legitimate business solicitations and filing complaints every once in a while. It doesn't happen a lot, but it does happen. And so this is our game to get around that and protect ourselves. And that's how you can set up Cloudflare.
Section 6, contact forms, works great for videos. Video 11, automatically break CAPTCHAs.
So another thing that's really important to do with contact forms is have some sort of way to break CAPTCHAs. So when you're sending out messages, what's going to happen is a lot of these websites are going to have CAPTCHAs. And what that means is that when you go to enter a message, or your robot goes to enter a message, there's going to be a sort of, like an extra prompt they have to enter. And so there's a thing called GSA deCAPTCHA breaker, or CAPTCHA breaker, and you can see it's actually running all these different CAPTCHAs and breaking them in the background with this add-on tool. So the link for this, let me get it. It should be easycontactbot.com. So go to easycontactbot.com, and I'll open the link here so you can see it. And you're going to go to the, let me scroll, hold on. 1 second. GSA CAPTCHA breaker. So now with this tool, you have to buy it. I think you can try it out too. You just click on download if you want to try it, but you buy it. And this tool, it is a little bit expensive, as you can see, but it's going to up your success rate like crazy when you're sending out these messages. Now it is optional, you don't have to use it, but if you do get it, what's going to happen is you're going to see so many more messages sent. So let me show you how to set this up. Once you download it on your computer, all you have to do, let me pause this. All you have to do is open it up. So let me cancel out of it. So we're going to open it up by double clicking it. Obviously you're going to get the license key that you're going to put in. And then when you're in your contact, GSA contact, when you go to CAPTCHAs, you're going to click on add, and you're going to add GSA CAPTCHA breaker. So when you press OK, now when you click send, the way you'll know this is working is this will start, when you run this, it'll start finding all the CAPTCHAs like this. Okay, so that's pretty much it. Again, optional, but it will up your success rate like crazy when you use it.
Section 6, contact forms. Works great for videos. Video 12, setting up your virtual private server.
Let's talk about setting up a virtual private server. So the virtual private servers are great for automating in the background. If you don't want to run these programs on your main computer and you just want this to run on a computer somewhere else, I'm running mine on computers in Los Angeles, you can do that with virtual private servers. So the way this works is you're going to go to a website called Solid SEO VPS, and I might have a special discount link in the spreadsheet. If I do, I'll leave it to the right of the spreadsheet. But what you're going to do is once you log into this tool, you're going to go and find a VPS. And if I go to the home page, it should give us the best deals. I believe I'm using the best VPS, I believe, but you don't really need the best. You could probably get away with just a Windows VPS. You can see 2 GB of RAM, 4 core, just get this one. And yeah, this is the one I'm using. So it's really just if you want to automate at a faster level, you would go and get something bigger with more RAM, better CPU, more cores. But it's not necessary. Like you can still get good results with something that's a lot smaller. So just choose what you want. 995 is probably fine. I only do this just because I like to automate as fast as possible. And I'm actually running 2 VPSs, but you should probably just start with one because things can start to get expensive the more you have of these running. So we'll click on this one, order now. You're going to check out, buy whatever, whatever it asks you to buy. So 29 bucks. Oh, this is quarterly, so I guess quarterly is the only way they do it now. I guess you can do annually and semi-annually. I guess they don't have a monthly. But once you get it, what's going to happen is it's going to go in your account, and you're going to click on My Account. Account Portal. And you're going to go to your VPS. So this is the VPS I have here, and it's going to ask you to set up your info. So it's going to ask you for a password. It's going to ask you for what you want the account name to be. And so you're going to put in that information, and then once you have that set up, you're going to go to remote desktop connection on your Windows, or if you're using a Mac, I believe it's you're going to have to download an app from the App Store, which you just look up remote desktop connection Mac and it'll show you remote desktop. It's the same sort of connector, just a different interface. Yeah, I think this is the one I use, Microsoft. Yeah, this is the one. So whether you use a Mac or a PC, doesn't matter. It's pretty much the same process. And when you open this up, what it's going to do is it's going to ask you for the IP address. So the IP is whatever's right here. So when you click on connect, it's then going to ask you for your username, and your username is always going to be administrator, and your password is going to be whatever your password is that you specified. Okay, and that's pretty much it. Now you'll have a virtual private server. You're going to install the app on your virtual private server. If you, I already have it set up here, so you can see it just connected to the one I already have open. But you're going to install all of your software that you need. So the GSA contact, all that kind of stuff on this computer or on this server. And it's basically like having just another computer that runs for you whenever. It's going to be on 24/7, so you don't have to keep your main computer on or waste your resources on your main computer. So that's how you do it.
Section 6, contact forms, works great for videos. Video 13, contacting local businesses, extracting GMBs at scale.
Let's talk about setting up a virtual private server. So the virtual private servers are great for automating in the background. If you don't want to run these programs on your main computer and you just want this to run on a computer somewhere else, I'm running mine on computers in Los Angeles, you can do that with virtual private servers. So the way this works is you're going to go to a website called Solid SEO VPS, and I might have a special discount link in the spreadsheet. If I do, I'll leave it to the right of the spreadsheet. But what you're going to do is once you log into this tool, you're going to go and find a VPS. And if I go to the home page, it should give us the best deals. I believe I'm using the best VPS, I believe, but you don't really need the best. You could probably get away with just a Windows VPS. You can see 2 gigabytes of RAM, 4 core, just get this one. And yeah, this is the one I'm using. So it's really just if you want to automate at a faster level, you would go and get something bigger with more RAM, better CPU, more cores. But it's not necessary. Like, you can still get good results with something that's a lot smaller. So just choose what you want. 995 is probably fine. I only do this just because I like to automate as fast as possible. And I'm actually running 2 VPSs, but you should probably just start with one because things can start to get expensive the more you have of these running. So we'll click on this one, order now. You're going to check out, buy whatever, whatever it asks you to buy. So 29 bucks. Oh, this is quarterly. So I guess quarterly is the only way they do it now. I guess you can do annually and semi-annually. I guess they don't have a monthly. But once you get it, what's going to happen is it's going to go in your account, and you're going to click on My Account. Account portal. And you're going to go to your VPS. So this is the VPS I have here, and it's going to ask you to set up your info. So it's going to ask you for a password. It's going to ask you for, what you want the account name to be. And so you're going to put in that information. And then once you have that set up, you're going to go to remote desktop connection on your Windows, or if you're using a Mac, I believe it's you're going to have to download an app from the App Store, which you just look up remote desktop connection Mac, and it'll show you remote desktop. It's the same sort of connector, just a different interface. Yeah, I think this is the one I use, Microsoft. Yeah, this is the one. So whether you use a Mac or a PC, doesn't matter. It's pretty much the same process. And when you open this up, what it's going to do is it's going to ask you for the IP address. So the IP is whatever's right here. So when you click on connect, it's then going to ask you for your username, and your username is always going to be administrator, and your password is going to be whatever your password is that you specified. Okay, and that's pretty much it. Now you'll have a virtual private server. You're going to install the app on your virtual private server. If you, I already have it set up here, so you can see it just connected to the one I already have open. But you're going to install all of your software that you need. So, the GSA contact, all that kind of stuff on this computer or on this server. And it's basically like having, just another computer that runs for you whenever. It's going to be on, 24/7, so you don't have to, keep your main computer on or waste your resources on your main computer. So that's how you do it.
Section 6, contact forms, works great for videos. Video 14, automating your SEO leads.
If you're not as interested in making money with affiliates and you're more interested in making money with website services and audits, one of the things I'd recommend is using the tool in ShineRanker, which allows you to click on leads list, and what you can do is click on get widget, and you can either just go get a link directly to the widget, or you can embed this on your website. But what this allows you to do is it allows you to send messages to people with request a free audit. So for example, if I went to Facebook and I started sending messages to people like automatic DMs, or if I went on Instagram, I started sending automatic DMs or comments. I'm like, hey, there's something wrong with your website. You should get it fixed. Would you be interested in getting a free report? Then you can send them to a page where you embed this, or you send them directly to your widget page, where they can go and request to get an audit. And what happens is they put in their website URL and their email, and it will go and start auditing their website with ShineRanker, but it will record that lead in your ShineRanker dashboard. So now you can keep all your leads in one place, and you can start sending them emails. It'll also find their phone numbers on their website and their other emails associated, so you can reach out to them. Looks like this one's loading for some reason, but I would really recommend that you do this if you're looking to get people interested in buying services from you and you're not as interested in the affiliate route.
Section 6, contact forms. Works great for videos. Video 15, how to get local business leads fast.
There's a ton of students in the program right now that want to learn how to get local business leads because they want to sell services. And one of the best ways to make money online right now, besides doing something like affiliate or selling an info product, is selling services. The only problem with services is you're selling your time. And while you can automate your time to a certain degree by outsourcing what you do, it still can be cumbersome. You still usually have to show up to meetings. You still have to talk to clients every now and then. And so just let me tell you that if you are going to be doing services, you want to be careful of how much you want to be doing. So getting a couple clients is a lot different than getting like 10 or 20 clients that are asking you where they're ranking, what are you doing? What's going on with my website? Why are you not doing this? Why are you not doing that? Right? But with anything that you scale, there's going to be downsides. So I'm just letting you know that ahead of time. And I'm not trying to discourage you. I'm just saying that if you're going to be getting a bunch of business leads, remember that there are a lot of downsides, and one of the biggest ones is having to answer to people. So how do we get local business leads or any sort of business leads fast? Now, what I'm going to show you is how to do this by getting website audits. And what a website audit is it's essentially a way that you're going to be offering to fix somebody's site by finding a few small issues with their site. Now, the way we're going to do that is we're going to start out by figuring out who you want to work with. And a lot of people ask me, Chase, who should I work with? Should I work with dentists? Should I work with chiropractors? Should I work with e-commerce sites? Doesn't matter. This will work for whoever you want to work with. I would recommend choosing a niche if you can. So if you work with iPhone repair shops, stick to that. There's plenty of iPhone repair shops in the world that you can help. And the reason why it helps to niche down is because when you help a certain type of client, you build a template that you know works, meaning that you know what pages you need to build, you know what type of content you need. As soon as you start doing services for everyone, it starts to become very, very complicated because you need to know about all of those different types of websites. I'm not saying you can't do that, but I am saying that it does make it more complicated. So let's just type in iPhone repair in Arizona. That's where I'm at right now. We scroll down, maybe find somebody that's ranking low on page 1. And we can go contact them through their contact page. Say, hey, I found something wrong with your website. Now that's the manual way of doing it. Obviously, you're in an automation course, so you can use bots as well to do this. Now, one of the ways that I've used bots to get a ton of leads like this is contacting or scraping iPhone repair shops or whatever the keyword is. And remember, you can do this within the contact form bots. And if you haven't watched those videos yet, go check them out. But you can log into something like your contact forms bot, and you can scrape for a specific niche. So like for real estate, plumbers, whatever you want, right? Type in iPhone repair. Now, the message is going to be pretty much the same no matter who you contact. If you're contacting iPhone repair sites, computer repair, doesn't matter. You're going to say something along the lines, or this is what I've said, is hey, I noticed something wrong with your website. I'd be happy to send you a report if you'd like. And there's a few different options here. You could send them to an opt-in where they go and try out see what's wrong with their website. That works really well. I actually built a widget inside of ShineRanker that allows you to embed this on your site. It's called Leads List. It gives you a little short code, and you can embed it on your website, and I'll show you what it looks like. So anytime somebody enters in their information, they enter their website, they enter their email, this will go into your dashboard and it'll keep track of the emails and the leads. And we're actually working right now on adding in a way to auto email them and auto follow up when they do this. We don't have it yet, but this is one way to do it. Alternatively, you can tell them just to message you back, and you can have something like a virtual assistant go through your inbox and respond to the people that say, yes, I want help. And you can also leave a phone number. Phone numbers work great too. You can have them text you. I was using a Skype account for a while, and I was keeping track of all the leads inside Skype. Just create a Skype number. It's really up to you. Sorry, my screen just probably went blank for a second. It's really up to you on what you want to do. There isn't a right or wrong way. You're going to probably get leads pretty much no matter what you do, as long as you follow the step-by-step. But once they ask you what's wrong with their website, then you're going to send them a report. And I'll show you how to do that in the next video. But what I'd also recommend is just find a couple things wrong with their site and offer to fix something for free. So one of the things that I've always recommended to pretty much anybody is, instead of trying to sell something, get your foot in the door. Say, I'd be happy to send a report and volunteer some time. Or you could even just say, hey, are you accepting volunteers? I'm an expert at web design, or whatever services. I'd like to volunteer some time to you. Now, when you volunteer time, all you have to do is volunteer an hour. All you have to do is volunteer to fix one thing. And that builds the relationship with the company that you're volunteering for. And then you can start offering to bill for your time, because obviously you can't work for free forever. And the cool thing about this is you don't, whether you're asking to volunteer or telling them that there's something wrong with their site, you don't have to have anything wrong with their site prior to reaching out. If you scan their website and you see there's nothing wrong after they say, yes, I need help, no worries. If they're doing great, say, hey, my mistake. I didn't realize you were doing that well. It looked like there was a page that was broken or something, right? So get the lead first and then figure out whether or not you can help them. But if you're spending all this time auditing people's websites and trying to figure out what's wrong, you send a message, you never hear back, then you're going to waste a lot of time. So whether you do this manually and reach out with this strategy, looking to volunteer or looking to send them a report, or whether you do it with bots, it should work either way. Just depends on how much you want to scale it. And that's pretty much how you get the leads. Well, we'll talk about doing the audits and doing the reports and all that good stuff in the next video.
Section 6, contact forms, works great for videos. Video 16, creating a website report.
All right, so let's get started with creating a website report. There's a couple ways you can do this. First of all, you can manually figure out what's wrong with somebody's website. Let's say we went to chasereiner.com. We could go in here and say, okay, well, there's not a certain element here, or you're missing something here. That's going to take a really long time. So instead, what I'd recommend is use ShineRanker. And we're going to log in, click on Shine Audit, and we're going to click on Enter Website Link for Analysis. So when somebody responds and they say, yeah, I need help with my website, they're going to have a URL that they either entered into the website audit widget, or if they respond via email, they should have the website in the subject line. And if they don't have the website, just say, hey, remind me really quick of which website we're auditing here. Just to make sure this is the best website that's working for you. Or is there one that I should be auditing instead, or doing a report on instead? And I would stay away from saying audit, just because you could potentially turn some people off if they think that you're auditing their business, like an IRS audit. So instead, say roadmap or report or analysis. It's all the same thing, but it sounds a little bit less intimidating. So we're going to take the website. Let's say they entered in purityclinic.com. Click on submit. This is going to give us a full printout. If you're unfamiliar with what any of this stuff means, that's fine. You might be brand new to doing website audits or website stuff. You have a couple options. You can click on show how to fix. It'll tell you the different things in here that need to happen. You can also click on tutorials here, and there's some videos showing you what you need to fix. But if you're going to be outsourcing this stuff, meaning you're giving it to somebody else, you don't technically really need to know what it is, because you can tell the website owner, hey, wait, you don't have this. We'll have it fixed for you, and we'll do the first fix for free, and then you can always hire somebody to do this for you, which I will show you how to do in a second. It would help to kind of have an idea, though, so I would recommend clicking on the tutorials, going through the different videos. But either way, if you scroll through here, it'll show you everything that's wrong with the website, and the things that are suggested to get fixed show up in red. So if there's no meta descriptions, if they're missing certain elements, and this is just a small part of the puzzle. There's different things that you're going to want to fix as well. But if you can offer to fix one thing for free, let's say they don't have analytics on their site, so they can't track their traffic, or they have some slow pages, so they're not loading very quickly, or their site's not secure. If you can find even a couple things, you can offer to get them fixed. If I click on Excel, by the way, here, it'll give me a printout, and I can hand this to somebody to fix these different issues. But the question is, how do we get them to buy something? Now, again, as I say in the other videos, if you're selling anything, you want to try to do video, because video creates that connection, and it makes selling a lot easier because people know that you're real. The first best thing you could do is get them into a Zoom call and say, hey, how's it going? Get to learn more about them. Show them the report that you found. Show them that you can help fix it. Say that you're volunteering the first thing for free. The second best thing you could do is send over a video, like a Loom video. Loom is a screen recorder that you can download and just click on, and it'll start recording a screen. And when it's done, it'll give you a link that you can send over to them. But again, what I would really, really recommend is if you want to sell services, try to make it as personal as possible. If you can get on the phone with them right away, they say, hey, I need some help. Say, great. Can I contact you? What's your phone number? Get on the phone, get on a Zoom, get on a screen share, get on a video, because the sooner you can build that relationship and build trust, it doesn't even matter what you're selling anymore, as long as it's helping them. And so if we can find an issue like this, and we can sell them the solution or give them the solution for free and upsell them future fixes and whatever they need, it's going to be really easy, or relatively easy. Now you might be thinking, well, I'm not confident at selling. I don't know what I'm supposed to sell. I don't really know any of this stuff. One thing I would recommend if you're in this program is consider getting my local course. I have a local course that shows you how to do everything you're going to want to do in here. And this is specifically if you want to do services. If you don't want to do services, don't worry about this. If you just want to do affiliates or promote your own products. But if you want to do services and you don't know a ton about setting up a website or building, sales for services, you don't know how to do reports, you don't know how to do any of that stuff, I would recommend you take my full course on it, and I'll show you what it looks like. I will also leave a link to it in the description of this video so you can go check it out. But it's called Shine Local, and it's 37 videos going over everything you need to do to set up a website and get it ranking on Google. Getting set up with a basic website, keyword research, setting up the tools, understanding keyword difficulty, hiring content writers, every single thing that you need to do. And the cool thing is you can get this program and you can outsource it. You could hire somebody, a virtual assistant, which I'll show you how to do in the next video. And you can have them go through the program and learn how to do all this stuff. So that way, when you get a client, they already know what to do. But I would recommend, if you want to dive deeper into services and you're not already somewhat familiar with doing services, to go through this program. But that's how you do a report. That's how you get somebody interested. And in a audit, in a free implementations, whatever the thing is that you're going to be giving them for free. And in the next one, I'll show you how to sell and outsource the issues.
Section 6, contact forms, works great for videos. Video 17, message optimization.
So what happens when you send contact forms and you send a ton and you get very little or no responses, very little or no leads? That's what we're going to talk about in this video. My name's Ryan Borden. I'm helping Chase Reiner. And Chris sent in a message here that he's been sending out 10,000 messages a couple of days in a row here. And he's not getting, I think he has one lead. He has a video here. He has one lead that he got that was legitimate, and then he's just not getting a whole lot of response here. So Chris, if you'll allow me here to make some suggestions. Basically, the first thing I would check is your auto responses, because they're kind of like a pulse on how it's going. So if you're getting auto responses, that's a good thing. If you're getting no auto responses or super low auto responses, then there could be an issue with the proxies, for example. You want to make sure that you're actually sending, that website contact is saying successful, and that in the website contact settings that you have it set up to stop if there is if proxies are off. So you want to go in here and make sure that stop projects when no proxy is alive. That way you're always using proxies, which is important, and I won't go into it now, but that makes sure that everything's working as well. And then if that is working and you're getting auto responses, then the next thing we want to look at is sending 10,000. So 10,000 may seem like a lot, and it is, but it's not. I mean, I send more than 100,000 contact forms per server before breakfast. So, and I'm sending over 1 million a day per server, right? So you have to kind of think out of it in terms of you're sending in mass here. And when we look at the message that plays into it, so the message is, I reviewed your website and I was impressed. So it's kind of a statement of, I saw your website, it looks great. Then the next statement is a question of, would you like to do this? And then the next statement talks about kind of like a proof statement about what our agency does, and then another call to action for the landing page. So the first thing to bear in mind here is this is a generic message. If you get into, like, if you're talking to plumbers and you're using plumber language, especially because you have a plumbing business or you're a marketing agency that specializes in plumbers or anything, right? Dentists, doesn't matter. But let's say plumbers for simplicity. And you do that, then you are working with a smaller subset of people, obviously massively smaller than, like, say, the whole country or the whole world, whatever country you're working in. But you're working with something that makes sense. And then you can tailor your message to being a plumber, and it resonates with them, right? And it connects. So this is a generic message. So presumptively, you're just sending to anyone, right? So any business, right? Contact forms are usually B2B because you're getting businesses. That's who has a contact form. Bob Smith doesn't have a contact form to contact him. He has an email address, right? So this is a business. So when you send a generic message to a whole lot of businesses, you have to work, it's a numbers game. You have to work in high volume. So don't think in tens of thousands, think in hundreds of thousands or in millions. I think in tens of millions when I function, but I'm functioning obviously at a very high level there. So at least hundreds of thousands is a good start. So I would send 1 to 300,000 and then kind of get a gauge on where you're at. It does seem like it's working some because you have got one legitimate lead. And then I would look at analytics, see if you're getting any traffic. That's also a key thing, because you can't do, like, an email you can do in like an open and put a pixel in there. You can't do anything like that with contact forms because it gets stripped out. So if that makes sense. So you want to work in large quantity of numbers. 10,000 really isn't that much. So I would try to send out 100,000, Chris, or maybe 200,000, and then kind of see where you're at. Check your auto responses, get a pulse on things, check your leads, and then also check your analytics and see if you're actually getting traffic there, because that's step one. Step two is the messaging, right? So I would not consider this a high-performing message as far as conversions, right? Because the point of in an email, because these get translated by the web server and they come to the end business as an email, right? So in email marketing, or in contact form marketing in this case, the point of the subject, there's only one point of the subject, and that is to sell the open of the message. I like to use single words, lowercase, or a couple of words, lowercase, enough to pique interest but not give a whole lot of detail. If you're going broad, if you're going really, really deep and you're talking to plumbers, then you can get real specific and use some language or some word that's related to plumbers that makes them, want to open that. But if you're going broad, especially for like SEO to all businesses in like France or the USA or Canada, I don't know what country you're working in, but or the whole world, I don't know what you're doing. So you want to use you want to pique the interest just enough to kind of get them to open it. That's the only point of the subject. The next point is the only point of the message. It's not, the message doesn't sell. The point of the message is to get them to take an action. In this case, we want them to go to a landing page. So 80% of people move away from pain and towards pleasure. 20% of people on average move towards pleasure, and in general they move towards pleasure. 80% of people move away from pain. So in this case, we have an opening statement, which is a compliment. Great. So you've opened them up and you complimented them. And the next question is, how would you like to save time and rank your content on page 1? So saving time is kind of moving away from pain, but it's really kind of weak on the whole sense of pain. And rank your content on page 1, that's pleasure, right? So you kind of open it up here, and you're only speaking to really 20% of people. So you just eliminated 80% of your people because this is a move towards pleasure statement, not a move away from pain statement. Down here, your social proof thing is, the concept here is fine, and it's a short message, which is good. But also, you're talking about get an 85% reduced subscription price here. This is a selling statement. So when you do sales copy, you can give a discount and then you give a reason why you're giving the discount. You're offering a discount here with no reason why. And the point of the message is not to sell. You don't want to sell anything in your message. That's what the landing page does. And in the case of the landing page, which we'll see in a minute, the only point is to sell an email sign up, right? And you're charging them a name and an email in exchange for something like a lead magnet or whatever. So I would take this statement away, and I wouldn't talk about price in an email at all, because you're only trying to get them to the landing page. Less is more in this case. You don't want to sell in your message. You want to sell on the landing page. I just said it like 3 times, but anyway, so you get the point. That was for emphasis, because it's really important to understand good messaging and good sales copy. So I would change this to something that is like, you want to, in good sales copy that works generically. And Jim Edwards has some really great stuff in this, a fantastic book. I can link it if somebody wants it. And there's even a great tool that you can get into called, he has a tool with Russell Brunson. But in sales copy, there's a problem, agitate, solve, right? So you present a problem, and then you agitate and make that problem just worse, right? So instead of saying, how would you like to save time and rank on page 1, I would go total pain point, because you can send multiple messages too. So I would focus on the 80% of people that move away from pain and make a message for them, and then also make a second message and go back and market to all those same people today, tomorrow, next week with that other message, right? So you can rotate messaging, and you want to do that because you're going to hit different people at different times. And if you notice in Chase's messaging, like look at any of his videos, it's always a pain point. Even when he talks about cats, it's like, you have a cat in my driveway and I'm going to freak out. Get your cat out of my driveway, right? That's a pain point, right? It's a stressor, because animals can get stressful for other people. And when he talks about, hey, your website's broken or your website's underperforming, right? Those are always pain. And he's really good at going straight to the pain as well. And here's another good example for you. If you've ever gotten the spam emails, which I get all the time from people saying that they've hacked your computer and recorded you doing something that they're going to post on the internet unless you pay them money, it's always pain. So look at what performs and you'll see. So in this case, we might say, I reviewed your website. Website looks great. Unfortunately, I see that it's underperforming. Period. In fact, if it keeps going, your traffic might get even worse. So you presented a problem and then you agitated it, right? Or you could say, I noticed that your website was bringing in less clients than what you wanted, and the bad news is with the economy, I think it's going to get worse, right? Smack them in the face. Don't, tell them they're an idiot. You don't want to insult them, but you want to smack them in the face with a problem. Some sort of wording there, that's pain.
Section 6, contact forms works great for videos. Video 18, landing page and message optimization.
So what happens when you send contact forms and you send a ton and you get very little or no responses, very little or no leads? That's what we're going to talk about in this video. My name's Ryan Borden. I'm helping Chase Reiner. And Chris sent in a message here that he's been sending out 10,000 messages a couple of days in a row here. And he's not getting, I think he has one lead. He has a video here. He has one lead that he got that was legitimate, and then he's just not getting a whole lot of response here. So Chris, if you'll allow me here to make some suggestions. Basically, the first thing I would check is your auto responses, because they're kind of like a pulse on how it's going. So if you're getting auto responses, that's a good thing. If you're getting no auto responses or super low auto responses, then there could be an issue with the proxies, for example. You want to make sure that you're actually sending, that website contact is saying successful, and that in the website contact settings that you have it set up to stop if there is if proxies are off. So you want to go in here and make sure that stop projects when no proxy is alive. That way you're always using proxies, which is important, and I won't go into it now, but that makes sure that everything's working as well. And then if that is working and you're getting auto responses, then the next thing we want to look at is sending 10,000. So 10,000 may seem like a lot, and it is, but it's not. I mean, I send more than 100,000 contact forms per server before breakfast. So, and I'm sending over 1 million a day per server, right? So you have to kind of think out of it in terms of you're sending in mass here. And when we look at the message that plays into it, so the message is, I reviewed your website and I was impressed. So it's kind of a statement of, I saw your website, it looks great. Then the next statement is a question of, would you like to do this? And then the next statement talks about kind of like a proof statement about what our agency does, and then another call to action for the landing page. So the first thing to bear in mind here is this is a generic message. If you get into, like, if you're talking to plumbers and you're using plumber language, especially because you have a plumbing business or you're a marketing agency that specializes in plumbers or anything, right? Dentists, doesn't matter. But let's say plumbers for simplicity. And you do that, then you are working with a smaller subset of people, obviously massively smaller than, like, say, the whole country or the whole world, whatever country you're working in. But you're working with something that makes sense. And then you can tailor your message to being a plumber, and it resonates with them, right? And it connects. So this is a generic message. So presumptively, you're just sending to anyone, right? So any business, right? Contact forms are usually B2B because you're getting businesses. That's who has a contact form. Bob Smith doesn't have a contact form to contact him. He has an email address, right? So this is a business. So when you send a generic message to a whole lot of businesses, you have to work, it's a numbers game. You have to work in high volume. So don't think in tens of thousands, think in hundreds of thousands or in millions. I think in tens of millions when I function, but I'm functioning obviously at a very high level there. So at least hundreds of thousands is a good start. So I would send 1 to 300,000 and then kind of get a gauge on where you're at. It does seem like it's working some because you have got one legitimate lead. And then I would look at analytics, see if you're getting any traffic. That's also a key thing because you can't do, like, an email you can do in like an open and put a pixel in there. You can't do anything like that with contact forms because it gets stripped out. So if that makes sense. So you want to work in large quantity of numbers. 10,000 really isn't that much. So I would try to send out 100,000, Chris, or maybe 200,000, and then kind of see where you're at. Check your auto responses, get a pulse on things, check your leads, and then also check your analytics and see if you're actually getting traffic there, because that's step one. Step two is the messaging, right? So I would not consider this a high-performing message as far as conversions, right? Because the point of in an email, because these get translated by the web server and they come to the end business as an email, right? So in email marketing, or in contact form marketing in this case, the point of the subject, there's only one point of the subject, and that is to sell the open of the message. I like to use single words, lowercase, or a couple of words, lowercase, enough to pique interest but not give a whole lot of detail. If you're going broad, if you're going really, really deep and you're talking to plumbers, then you can get real specific and use some language or some word that's related to plumbers that makes them, want to open that. But if you're going broad, especially for like SEO to all businesses and like France or the USA or Canada. I don't know what country you're working in, but or the whole world. I don't know what you're doing. So you want to use, like, you want to pique the interest just enough to kind of get them to open it. That's the only point of the subject. The next point is the only point of the message. It's not, the message doesn't sell. The point of the message is to get them to take an action. In this case, we want them to go to a landing page. So 80% of people move away from pain and towards pleasure. 20% of people on average move towards pleasure, and in general they move towards pleasure. 80% of people move away from pain. So in this case, we have an opening statement, which is a compliment. Great. So you've opened them up and you complimented them. And the next question is, how would you like to save time and rank your content on page 1? So saving time is kind of moving away from pain, but it's really kind of weak on the whole sense of pain. And rank your content on page 1, that's pleasure, right? So you kind of opened it up here, and you're only speaking to really 20% of people. So you just eliminated 80% of your people, because this is a move towards pleasure statement, not a move away from pain statement. Down here, your social proof thing is, the concept here is fine, and it's a short message, which is good. But also, you're talking about get an 85% reduced subscription price here. This is a selling statement. So when you do sales copy, you can give a discount and then you give a reason why you're giving the discount. You're offering a discount here with no reason why. And the point of the message is not to sell. You don't want to sell anything in your message. That's what the landing page does. And in the case of the landing page, which we'll see in a minute, the only point is to sell an email sign up, right? And you're charging them a name and an email in exchange for something like a lead magnet or whatever. So this, I would take this statement away, and I wouldn't talk about price in an email at all, because you're only trying to get them to the landing page. Less is more in this case. You don't want to sell in your message. You want to sell in the landing page. I just said it like 3 times, but anyway, so you get the point. That was for emphasis, because it's really important to understand good messaging and good sales copy. So I would change this to something that is like, you want to, in good sales copy that works generically. And Jim Edwards has some really great stuff in this, a fantastic book. I can link it if somebody wants it. And there's even a great tool that you can get into called, he has a tool with Russell Brunson. But in sales copy, there's a problem, agitate, solve, right? So you present a problem, and then you agitate and make that problem just worse, right? So instead of saying, how would you like to save time and rank on page 1, I would go total pain point, because you can send multiple messages too. So I would focus on the 80% of people that move away from pain and make a message for them, and then also make a second message and go back and market to all those same people today, tomorrow, next week with that other message, right? So you can rotate messaging, and you want to do that because you're going to hit different people at different times. And if you notice in Chase's messaging, like look at any of his videos, it's always a pain point. Even when he talks about cats, it's like, you have a cat in my driveway and I'm going to freak out. Get your cat out of my driveway, right? That's a pain point, right? It's a stressor, because animals can get stressful for other people. And when he talks about, hey, your website's broken or your website's underperforming, right? Those are always pain. And he's really good at going straight to the pain as well. And here's another good example for you. If you've ever gotten the spam emails, which I get all the time from people saying that they've hacked your computer and recorded you doing something that they're going to post on the internet unless you pay them money, it's always pain. So look at what performs and you'll see. So in this case, we might say, I reviewed your website. Website looks great. Unfortunately, I see that it's underperforming. Period. In fact, if it keeps going, your traffic might get even worse. So you presented a problem and then you agitated it, right? Or you could say, I noticed that your website was bringing in less clients than what you wanted, and the bad news is with the economy, I think it's going to get worse, right? Smack them in the face. Don't, tell them they're an idiot. You don't want to insult them, but you want to smack them in the face with a problem. Some sort of wording there, that's pain. All right, so we talked about that. Let's have a look at the actual landing page. And the actual landing page, let me load it up here. Okay, so we have a landing page. Now, let me offer some pointers here. Less is more on the landing page. I actually have a friend who taught me a very valuable lesson some years ago when we were doing contact form marketing, and that is way less is way more. He builds companies, he starts working with them around $1 million and he builds them to $10 million. And he's done consulting with companies at $50 million level, and he buys and sells companies. And he taught me this, and we got our highest or really high conversion rates by putting text on the page, a text and a form. Like, I'm talking a form with a name and an email and text only. In fact, I use that right now. I'm doing some landing pages, a lot of landing pages, and in fact, I took Chase's landing page for his AI Profits course when we did tests on contact form marketing, and I rebuilt his entire landing page and sent contact forms to it. And it's a different offer. It's a B2C kind of offer, so it's a little different, but I took away all of his imaging and everything and put only text, and I think we tripled the conversions on it by taking away the images. Something we need to consider is this landing page is massively busy. Like, if I come here and I'm a business, okay, I'm a plumber, I'm a barber, I'm a dentist, I'm a roofer, I have an online store or whatever. I have a lot of stuff going on in my life, in my world. I'm trying to make more money. That's why I clicked on this email, because it intrigued me for an option, because now you've told me how bad my website is and I know that I can make more money there. I'm stressed out because my kids aren't doing so good in school. My wife is sick. I'm stressed out because my parents are having to go to the doctor about something. I'm stressed out because I'm a teenager in school or in college trying to figure this out, or I have a new baby. Whatever the situation is, people have real stuff going on in their lives, and you have to get to the point. And it has to be understandable for them in a very understandable level, right? Think your grandma. If your grandma showed up on this page, would she understand what's going on? I got the best SEO tool in different colors on another color background. Then I've got another color over here. We've ranked on page 1 for high value keywords with some quote in the background that I can't read all of. That's small print. Then I have something over here which looks analytical type with some logo, yet more colors slapped on top of it, and I got some analytics going on. I've got some woman pointing over here at the logo, and her eyes are looking at me, and she's pointing over here. And just for imagery's sake, studies show that people go wherever the eyes of the person go. So in this case, I'm going to look at the woman. If you want me to fill out this form, you need to have a woman with her eyes looking down at the form. Wherever you point her eyes, that's where the human being's eyes are going to go. Plus, she's pointing over here and looking at me. That aside, then I've come down here and I've got the best SEO tool on the market. Then I've got even more colors with black on yellow. And then I come here and I've got something, and then I've got yellow and blue. And I'm not trying to say anything bad about if you built the landing page, Chris, or somebody else built the landing page. Like, I'm not insulting you here. I'm trying to explain that if grandma shows up on this page, or I'm a new father that shows up on this page and there's a baby screaming in the background, I'm happen to be working from home from my office, but I'm also trying to pick up a side hustle here with a business, or maybe I'm trying to help clients order. There's just so much going on in my life that you only have a few seconds, and if I show up at this tool, this web page, and I can't figure it out, my eyes dart everywhere and there's so many colors, I'm out. I'm done. Bounce rate. Your bounce rate is probably really high. Personally, I would take all this yellow and blue and everything away. I would get some great text, and I would test. You can split test this, right? So I split test with WordPress and build the landing pages there. And there's a split testing tool in the page builder I was using, which is, let me check, which is Divi, and I happen to have that already, so I just used it. I also use Kartra as a CRM, and they have a split test tool. There's tons of CRMs and other stuff out here that have split test tools. So I don't know what you're building this in, or if you're using a landing page like Lead Pages, or I forget the other ones. There's lots of big players out there, right? They all offer split tests. So I don't know what you're using. Totally split test. Don't take my word for it. The only wrong answer is whatever doesn't work. However, if it was me, I would get rid of everything from here, this whole top section, just nuke it and use just text and use just black and white and get rid of this yellow and blue and everything. And I would use an orange button right here, because studies show that orange makes people want to buy. When you put an orange buy button, it increases sales over everything else. I don't have the exact hex colors of that, but blue is a very calming color, and this is kind of like a bright blue. This does not make me want to click on this. Plus, it says the call to action is get the deal now. What deal are we getting? Because this doesn't tell me about a deal. Like, there's no, your message said 85% off, but it's not congruent, right? The number, so there was a study done with Amazon or Adobe, the guy that did Adobe with hundreds of millions of impressions and leads and sales and everything, and the number one lever that makes people buy is if it's congruent. So in a paid ad, whatever the title is, if you put that same title on the landing page, that alone makes people want to buy. Like the title is like 85% of it, literally. So whatever your title is, it's got to be good. And we don't even really have a clear title here other than the best SEO tool, and it doesn't really stand out. And I'm a plumber, right? What in the world is an SEO tool? I mean, I've heard of SEO, but I don't really know what it means, and I don't have time to learn a tool, So if it were me, and we're at 15 minutes in this video, so I got to cut it off. But if it were me, I would do like breakthrough. New website tool helps your business get customers even if you don't know how to use technology. And then literally that and the form, and that's it. And try it. If you're going to use imaging, that's fine, but make it simple. Like even if you look at Chase's AI Profits course, let me see, I think it's like aiprofit.com. Maybe I'm wrong. Nope. Give me one sec. It's one image, and then there's a large text and a small text, and that's it, right? So, and see how it has kind of the reddish orange button. So this image has some stuff going in the background, but the background is one congruent picture of stuff. And the big players here are, we see money and money. A whole lot of money here and a whole lot of money here, and then some other stats, all money, right? So it's not too busy. But again, with contact forms, when I took away this picture for Chase's Lander, the contact form conversions went way up. If we go over here, where in the world were we? Here we go. So over here, like, try it, but I've already said enough. You get the point. We want everything to be congruent, and if we can make our messaging more about pain and less about pleasure, I mean, definitely I would come in with those pleasure emails as well, because there is that 20% of people. But focus in really hard. And if you're going to do pleasure, and if you do pain, but don't do a half and half kind of thing where it's like save time, which is pain, and half over here, because then we need to get them to the landing page. Once we get them to the landing page, then we need to get them to make a choice, and we're charging them a name and an email. And why are we charging them a name and email? If I'm going to give you my name and my email, why am I doing that? And there's not a clear call to action here for me personally. And I think if my grandma showed up here, that she would not have a clear call to action either. And sometimes the best way to sell SEO is by not saying the word SEO, that I've found. Because businesses understand, in this case, businesses understand getting more customers, but you have to understand that there's a big stigma of a whole lot of people, including scammers, that sell SEO, and it's very ambiguous. All these people out there selling SEO, it's so ambiguous. So just in that space, I wouldn't even use the word SEO on the Lander if it was mine. Nonetheless, now that I have rambled for 18 minutes, if you made it this far, congratulations, and I hope that helps.
Last video, Section 6, contact forms, works great for videos. Video 19, getting a list of businesses.
Hey guys, this video is about getting a list of businesses. My name's Ryan Borden. I'm working with Chase Reiner, and in the video that I did today on the channel with an outrageous bot hack that earns $100 a day, this is step 1 of that video. So we need businesses, obviously, in order to contact them. And so we obviously need keywords to get a list of businesses, because what we're going to do is we're going to go out to Google or whatever engine and get a list of businesses. So let's say we want roofers. So we want roofers in a list of states or in particular areas. It kind of depends on what you're selling them. If you're going local, where you want to drive down and talk to them, or if you can go to roofers anywhere in the country because you have a software solution or whatever you're selling them, right? So getting a list of businesses is pretty easy. We can go to ShineRanker and log in here, and under the keyword research tab, we can go ahead and input some keywords. So I'm going to go local in this space just to keep it simple. Everybody understands that. And tree service. So these are kind of local businesses in the service industry. So I'm going to let ShineRanker go out and get us some keywords to start with. And I'm not necessarily looking for a particular number of keywords here. It's kind of just whatever comes up. And it's cranking away, but I'm going to pause this so we don't waste time. All right, that took a few seconds, and we have 2,200 keywords. So I'm going to go ahead and export these and pick them up here. Now that I've got them open, I'm just going to grab this column here and copy it. And I'm going to use a tool called Scrapebox. And we're going to put the keywords in here. So if you have used Scrapebox before, it's been around for more than a decade. If you have used it, this is going to be pretty old hat for you. If you have not used it, then it's an extremely powerful tool, even used by Fortune 500 companies. And it's pretty straightforward. We have this quadrant basically over here that is keywords. This quadrant down here is for proxies, and then this quadrant up here is the URLs that we're going to get back from the search engine. So they call it harvesting in Scrapebox, or you might hear the term scraping as you go around on the internet and that sort of thing. So I have all my keywords loaded in over here. I've gone ahead and loaded in some proxies here that I just have. These are private proxies. So private proxies, shared private proxies, anything like that is fine. You can use public proxies for this too. If you're not familiar with the terms on proxies, then just let me know in the comments, and I can do a video on a little bit in depth on proxies and kind of explain that. There's, I'm sure, I actually even looked. I'm sure that there's resource links in the course on getting proxies. I'm 99.9%, and if not, then we can put some there. So we're going to start harvesting here, and there's a lot of engines in here. I really just use Google. Sometimes I use Bing, but you know, the problem that you run into with lots of other engines, and some of this is Google like 24 hours and stuff, that's fine, but when you get into other things, like relevance is important. Google does it really well. Bing does it sometimes okay. You know, and Yahoo and Bing are kind of there. But so anyways, I'm just going to hit start here and let this run. So I do have this set up on a low connections due to my proxies. You can see it's only one thread just because I don't want to burn out the proxies and get them banned by Google. If I do get them banned, they unban in like 48 hours, so it's not the end of the world. But the point of that is it's going to be just a little bit slower than if we were to get a bunch of proxies in here and crank up the connections. Scrapebox can go wicked fast. I actually have a video showing it doing over 1 million URLs per minute. So every 60 seconds, 1 million URLs. But we're going to scrape up these businesses based on these keywords. I'm going to pause the video and we'll be back. So this has been running for a minute. I actually stepped out and went and picked up a kid from school, and I think that's one of the things that I love about automation so much is that it's run by itself, and like we applied almost no effort. And it's been running all this time, and it's got 68,000 URLs from Google, and we got a lot of keywords from ShineRanker, 2,200 keywords, and so we're actually only 23% done. And again, this is really great because you can set this up and go to bed, you can go to lunch, you can go do other things, or it can literally run in the background. And you can do all your normal stuff. And so that's how you can get a list of businesses utilizing keywords that you can get from ShineRanker. And then I'm just going to stop this and get out of here. And we can see it kind of gives us a report on all the keywords, what it got and what it didn't get and that sort of thing. And so now we have a long list of businesses that we can now contact and sell them something.